wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello, folks. Welcome to everybody watching the program from the future on Monday, the 17th of February, 2025. It is, of course, just Sunday, the 16th of February, 2025, here on the East Coast of the United States and in the rest of these continental United States. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you back now for the Sunrise Edition once again, which we're continuing while we await the decision from the federal government here in the United States about what will happen with this refugee resettlement program. In the meantime, we'll keep bringing you news, keep you updated. Just dropped another video for those who missed it, just went up a few minutes ago, talking about the moral hazards and the unfairness of attaching programs and blaming the United States. The United Nations officials are running around now grifting for more money, screaming for debt relief because Donald Trump suspended for 90 days future spending on foreign aid, which would include any additional obligations under the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS relief. Notice that that acronym has the word emergency in it. The emergency started in 2003. It's 2025. I submit to you that the emergency is over, that the responsibility for HIV funding for people is the responsibility of respective governments around the world, not the American taxpayer. We've done our share and then some. $120+ billion poured into this program for 22 years for a program that we were told would last 5 years for just $15 billion. Meanwhile, grifters around the world, including elites in South Africa and UN AIDS, are crying about money that they're not getting, blaming us for their failures and expecting us to continue to pay. The United States, ladies and gentlemen, has just 5% of the world's population. We produce 25% of the world's GDP. We are overachievers. And as a consequence, we bear the burden of 97% more money spent, well, not 97, 32.5 times more money spent than the United Nations spends on HIV. And the difference is the money we spend on HIV largely goes to antiretrovirals, testing and counseling, prevention, condoms, services, counseling services, whereas the HIV money spent by UN AIDS, which some of it comes from the United States as well, is spent largely on conferences and get-togethers and posters and meetings and things like that. Yet we're the ones who are responsible for the crisis around the world. I have one thing to say to these grifters. Get lost. All right, welcome. That's my opening comment this evening on the Sunrise with the Colonels. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. NWA, Jean Fun here. Now, this isn't like the news program. We've shifted the news program back to the way it was for a while, a few years ago, because so many people are coming into the chat and want to ask questions about the refugee resettlement program. And that's fair. I understand people want to know what's going on, and I'll do my best to keep you informed, especially since there are very few reliable sources of information. I will do that. But on my news program, which occurs during the daytime, usually 6 p.m. evening for South Africa, 11 a.m. here in the East Coast U.S., that program, for the moment, we will continue having no chat for the news. After the news is over, I'll open up the chat for people to chat. So those who want to hear the news and my analysis of the news can do so and get through it without people constantly going, me, over here. Hey, I asked this question. Why you ignore me? Not ignoring you, trying to get to the news. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do on that. But this program here is a little bit different. It's like the Night Owls program. It really is a truly Night Owls. I don't promise to continue this forever because it works for me at 11 p.m., still at the time that I'm up reasonably on the East Coast, 6 a.m. in South Africa, so it works. I'll do this for the foreseeable future, but we'll be hitting daylight savings time in a month or two, and at that time, I'll likely reconsider whether to do this. And I'm hoping by then we'll have the information so that it's not necessary to do this program. But in the meantime, I enjoy it. It's nice to have 158 people here with us at 11 o'clock at night. Of course, we found out that people show up when the news is big enough no matter what. We had audiences of thousands here when I announced this this program when it came out just hours after President Trump sent the executive order out a little over a week ago now. We had thousands of people, but it's good to see people here now, 166 in the audience, and it's growing, 61 likes. That means 105 people are freeloading. Why are you freeloading? Hit the like button. Come on. It's not much to ask, is it?
That was easy.
A piece of cake. The battery's been in there for years. It's amazing how long those batteries last for that thing. Is it from Staples? Is it Office Depot? Yeah, Staples. Staples had that easy button. Bought that so long ago. I thought it's a kind of clever little kitschy thing. I think I paid $5 for it. I've more than got my $5 worth out of it over the years. That's for darn sure. All right, folks, I'll get to the chat now. So, NWA is here. Jean-Tel, hello to you. Renia van Rensburg, Bushveldbot, Fouché Herbst, Ilse Hugo, Willem Janssen van Rensburg, Carlo Cornier, Joan Velgamon, Fred Baranga, Kathleen Bernard, good morning to you. Christian Peterse, Ellie, Beth Fraser in from South Carolina, or not from South Carolina, that's in from Texas, if I'm not mistaken, Beth, welcome, or Tennessee. Always confused where Beth's at. She's here in the U.S. Jean-Tel van Heerden, second cup of coffee. Wow, there's a coffee addict right there. You know, coffee is an evil substance invented by Satan to enslave mankind. You do know that, right? Just so you know. Francois Leroux, and you know who I'm talking about. Those are the people who are addicted to their coffee, and they get up in the morning, and without their coffee, sorry, didn't mean to wake you up. Got to have that caffeine. Okay, Keith Alderson's in from Coventry. Keith, how you doing? If you've been in the chat, I've been missing you with all the names out there, so my apologies for that. Make real money. All right, well, how do we make real money? Cheryl Barneson, welcome to you. Kathleen says, Echan vanochtend binnenlandse zakkie contact om de oor maak mens met dit paspoortstory. Oh, okay, you're going to this evening listen inland to listen to stories about passport stories, bad news stories. Stefan left South Africa 29 years ago and been back once for 10 days. Wow, I got you beat by a wide measure there, my friend. Larissa Slaughter, good morning to you. Bones, it's McCoy. It's Leonard McCoy. Welcome, Bones. Gus here. Trico Hawkeye, welcome back to you. William, welcome to you. Holden Caulfield's back. Yes, lots. Janet, lady, there's Janet, South Carolina. Hey, Janet's always going to Florida. I haven't heard her been in Florida lately, though. Suzanne Fonfier, and I wonder if that inflation's been eating into Janet's ability to travel as much like it has for me. Lehan Oosthuizen, let's hope for clarity this week. Thank you, Ron, for filtering out the noise and giving relevant updates. You're very welcome, Leon. And by the way, what I've done, folks, is in the Telegram group, I had to record a video because I forgot when I go live how I'm supposed to save that thing, and I didn't save it. As I did that, but when I got first censored a few years ago, I was using briefly Telegram to do the news, and people would watch me on there. I record it, I saved it, and I have to edit it. But I couldn't figure out, I must have forgotten how to do it, so I couldn't. So I did a live, and only about 10 people were there, so I had to record the video. But in WhatsApp and the two groups and the Telegram group is the one where things can grow the most, so it's probably a smart place to go. But I made this video earlier in Telegram. So this is in WhatsApp. Hang on a second. Just a second here. Okay, so I just approved another person to join that group. But this is the message I put out earlier. Hey folks, this is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. It is Sunday, the 16th of February, 2025. Scoured the United States Embassy website in South Africa, State Department website here in the States, any announcements from President Bush, the whitehouse.gov. And as of this hour, there have been no updates to this offered refugee resettlement program in the United States for Afrikaners, whatever that definition will eventually be by the government. There's nothing there. No changes. I will be interviewing Neil Diamond from the South African Chamber of Commerce here sometime this week, hopefully on Tuesday, waiting to hear back from him, but he has agreed to an interview. So we may hear more information from his side, but that will just be how they've been addressing people's concerns. It won't be anything from the U.S. government. So if people are telling you they've got answers, they're misleading you. There are no answers as of this date. I just wanted to share this with you so that everyone's informed, up to date, as most recent information as possible, which is today, the 16th of February, 2025, about 9 days after the offer was made. We have to wait and see. All right, so I put those out in the two groups, WhatsApp, and a similar one on the Telegram group. I had to record it separately. All right, so there you go. And I'll keep doing that as best I can. But once that information does become available, it's going to be very quickly. A lot of shysters, a lot of hucksters, a lot of charlatans will be vying for your attention, trying to get your money and strip you of your wealth. You'll have people attacking you if you're interested in it. Other people attacking you if you're not interested in it. Look, it's if in fact anyone does get to take advantage of this program, that's on you. That's your choice. I'm not encouraging you to come here. I'm not discouraging you to come from here. Lord knows we've received far worse people than South Africans coming to this country as refugees. Trust me. Far worse people. Chantel, okay. Rolf van der Merwe, good morning to you. Necro Crike says, I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's the day's almost over. It's 11:15 p.m. And Stefan is just giving up where he's at. Stefan is probably in Wellington or Auckland. It's 5 p.m. there. Marius Fenter, good morning to you. And Dennis LaRue, Chris Marie, Catherine Bernard. Whoops. I like the way you read Afrikaans. It's delightfully funny. Yeah, I'm very sorry. Yeah, but it's not so funny when I read French and German because then actually I'm mistaken for, I'm never mistaken for a Frenchman, but I'm mistaken for a German frequently. Yep, but it doesn't sound anywhere like that. Jacobus Albertus Olofse. Whoops, where'd he go? Just jumped on me. There we go. Giannis Pretorius. It's amazing how I can see a name here and then it just disappears and another one pops right back up. Huh. Saw the video and agree that AIDS in Africa is not the problem in the United States. Well, Susan, it shouldn't be our problem. We've done more than our share for 22 years. I'm not saying we should quit assistance to Africa, but I'm saying that whether we give money to Africans to help with HIV, it's our decision, not Africans. And trying to guilt us with racist garbage into giving money. I've got an op-ed here that's published in the Mail and Guardian, a once reliable newspaper that's become a brag from some academic here in America talking about Donald Trump being racist. And the guy is a fool. He keeps talking about bigotry and not racism. And it's just unbelievable. It's funny how the left can use rhetoric during campaigns and say things like they cling to their God and their guns, which is a clear racist dog whistle by Hillary Clinton about poor rural white people in Pennsylvania. And Barack Obama can say the same sort of garbage about white people and get away with it. And they're never called on the carpet, never called racist. When Donald Trump makes an accurate statement that rapists and murderers are coming from Mexico to America, he's called a racist when Mexicans are white. I don't even know how that's even a racist statement. It's bigotry, perhaps, but it's not racist. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on, too. Arctic says, good morning to the refugees. Arctic, how's it going, man? Yakubasson says, morning from Kempton Park. Thank you for watching the video, Susan. Ilza, Trevor, Mike Weston, Alfonso Ferreira, welcome to you. Johan van der Wald, Chantel. Yes, I'm a monster without my coffee. Aha, see, I knew Chantel. I know about people who can't handle their morning without their coffee. Ooh, I've been around them. Be careful talking to those folks. Tony says, I was on a live chat this morning and got hacked. Then the channel owner was hacked in her chat window. Wow. A live chat where? On YouTube, Twitter? Where was that at? More, Colonel. Your header daily does. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I do want to change that. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I must have had a spelling error. I never caught that. Well, thank you. That's the first person to mention that. Let's fix that right now. Thank you for that. Daily dose. Yeah, no, that was intentional. Daily dose. Obviously, you recognize that was just a typo. Daily dose. Yeah, wow. I got to go back and change all of them then because they're all like that. Yeah, you're the first person to mention that. It's funny how we see things. That's why when YouTube says, well, it's the header, it's the thumbnail. The one thing that definitely does make a difference in getting attention for streams is the thumbnail. It really does. That we know for a fact. So wow, I started using this banner a few days back, and let me just fix it. I won't have to go too far, but daily dose. Okay, here it's right here. How do I have it right on the 15th, and then I just got it wrong for the last couple? I must have. That's weird. Did YouTube do that? It's right there, and then it's wrong here. Look at this. Interesting. Daily dose. Thank you very much for pointing that out. I do appreciate that. That's very generous of you. Very kind. We don't want to look silly if we don't have to. It's just crazy. Daily dose. Okay, I'm back now. The first time I did it was Valentine's Day, the daily dose thing. So we've been doing that since Valentine's Day. Okay, cool beans. Thanks for that, man. Slow day for subscribers. I think we gained maybe 600 today. You can't complain about that, but that's half what we got yesterday. So not much news today for people to talk about, and a lot of people online. I think people needed a break. Yeah, Beth, Tennessee, Texas. We're all cousins. Yes, I'm a monster at my coffee. Okay. Thank you for that, Claudia Milo. Mille grazie. Mille grazie. Okay. STVDM, good evening from New Zealand. Hello, New Zealand. What's the word down there? Jacinda Ardern. Has anybody seen her? You can put her in a milk carton. She's disappeared. Thank goodness. It is Jan from California, Bez Valley Pest Control. Oh, Jan, I'm so sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, could we take a moment, please, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Jan, a prisoner of conscience in the Communist Republic of California. We wish you well and hope that you're not harassed by apologists for America's conquest of California. Wait, we bought California. We got that in a peace treaty. I guess we didn't conquest California, so I guess that's not true. But thoughts and prayers for our dear friend in California suffering under the mighty regime of Gavin Newsom. Anyway, just a thought for a moment for Bez Valley. Catherine, I like the way you read off for cons. I like the funny. That's where I was before. Okay. Morning. All's well. There's Jacobus. How did it get down here? This is strange. My chat does some strange things, folks. Or it's just me. Could be age. Certainly it's the glasses. I've had to wear glasses for 2 or 3 days now, and it's really a new experience for me. Sometimes I need them, sometimes I don't. With your accent, you unfortunately not qualify. No, I won't qualify for the refugee program, but I already had the golden ticket. I had the good fortune of my ancestors getting the hell out of Europe in 1621. 1621, we're the OGs. We beat the Afrikaners to Africa. We didn't beat the Bantu speakers to Southern Africa, but hey, let's see. Where were my ancestors 1,600 years ago? That would be the year 500. Oh, they'd be in Sweden. Yeah, so we were still in Europe. Yeah, all caps is for Endo. He doesn't know anything else. Please keep your all caps out. It's not etiquette on the internet to type in all caps, and that comes from Internet Chat Relay or Internet Relay Chat IRC back in the day. If you used all caps, it was meant to make an expression that you're angry. We allow Hundo to do that because he's challenged and his keyboard is broken. The key lock won't change. He's too cheap to change the keyboard, so Hundo is allowed to use all caps as a moderator. Okay. JJ Talliard, welcome to you. Jan, good morning from Pretoria. Scammers are everywhere. Be extremely cautious. They're very smart in how they scam these days. Yeah, I help seeing the scammer reviews. Yeah, listen. My advice to you is that go to a reliable source. I have nothing now. I'm not going to tell you that I'm perfect and I would never get something wrong, and it's buyer beware. But I'm not here to take any money from anybody. The only money that's coming my way is if you give a donation for the super chat or you watch my videos and make ad revenue. But there's no me direct. There's a middleman in there. And it's clear where it comes from. But no, I'm not here to get your money, and I have no interest in your money, unless you're a billionaire. Then you can give me some of your money, and I'll be happy to take some of your money. Even a Rand billionaire, I'll take some of your money. Dalf, good morning from Potchefstroom. How's it going there, man? How you doing? Okay, Alwyn Wayne Dippenar, welcome to you. Petersburg, we're talking about Polokwane. Hope you're all well this morning. I think Petra's get-together was a huge success. I think it was a success, but of course the media will portray it in the wrong fashion. I haven't made a video. I've got lots of them put together. I've just been very busy, and it's going to be a busy week. If things work out the way they're supposed to, later today, I know this, I've confirmed, our Venet Dutoya will be on here with me on Fireside with the Colonels. Whoops. I've had some power issues today because the constant freezing rain has soaked the lines and saturated them. In fact, my Christmas lights are still in the bushes outside because I don't have a front yard light because it was never installed properly, so I tend to leave them up. And the rain has been hitting the side of the house and leaked into the outlet because the lid is open, and it's tripped the breaker for my basement where my freezer's at, and my lights are down there, and my heat is down there. So when it trips the breaker, I had no heat. No wonder I was cold last night. Figured that out today. So that was just a power surge. I'll have to check to make sure I have power downstairs a little bit later on, but right now, so I have to remember that before I go to bed. Otherwise, it'll get very cold tonight. It is 1 degree below freezing here, so it's like -1 Celsius. Yep. I hope you are well this evening. Yeah, Petzer's, I think, was probably a success, but it's going to be displayed in the wrong way. Bez Valley grew up in Petersburg. Xander van Rensburg, welcome to you. And on YouTube, we reported to YouTube, was really bad, vile, disgusting. People think it was me saying those things. Yeah, no, Tony, it happens all the time. It hasn't happened recently. I remember we had a period a few years ago when YouTube censors were coming in and had control and took over our chat, and they just deleted people. Then we had other times when people came in impersonating people. That's why you may have an avatar and a username, but anybody can pick your avatar and duplicate on here. This is why when people ask to be moderators, I tell them I have to see you in the chat for a while and see who you are to get a sense of who you are before I approve someone being a moderator. That way I have some indication of who you are. You also have to give me your real name. We have to have a phone conversation, a video conversation, and those sorts of things. The people who are my moderators have all gone through that process. Just because you just can't trust, you don't know. Got to be careful. Trust but verify is what Reagan said. Good middle of the night, says Mickey. Good middle of the night. Thank you very much. There's Ima. Hey, Ima back. Good to see you again. Ima, are you going to ask real questions tonight? Are you just going to come here and troll? I'm asking now. Okay, Ima says the Elon kid is real. Didn't spread fake news. Pop to say that. Well, okay. See, that's a useless statement. Because you claimed all kinds of things. You claim that the kid said Trump wasn't the president. Apparently that never happened. He was there, that's true, and did pick his nose, that's true. So you can't just come in and say you were 100% correct, it wasn't fake news, because you made multiple claims about that video, and you just haven't verified any of them. You just made an empty allegation. That's not how the world works. That's how it's worked for the past 4 years. That's not how it's going to work going forward. Anyway, Asian Elon, the best thing made in China. Okay. Went to Pretoria High School, class 2006. 2006, good Lord. I went to New Lexington High School, class of 1982. 1982. When the world was much better. And I ran so far away, couldn't get away. Flock of seagulls. Morning from Villiers in the Free State. Good morning, Ace in the Free State. How's it going there? Carrie Lung, welcome to you. And, jumped way ahead here. I'm almost caught up, and then I'm looking for people, questions and things just to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, Yokanan Charnot is back. Kleb Zede Gaiman. What's 7 hours? So, yeah, it's tomorrow for you guys. I'm calling from the past, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a golden oldie from the past, from 2025 on Sunday. We can only you'll get an update from me, but it won't be an update on news until the program comes out. Copy, welcome back to you. Good to see you again. How you doing, Copy? If you want the Colonel to read your comment, there you go, exactly. If you want something from me, you need to, Best Valley's laughing, you need to put the @ so I see it. And see, Keith Alderson is putting one in there. I haven't quite caught up to it yet. It's 11:26. I'm 5 minutes behind on the chat, so let me catch up. Funny the Hendo's caps got stuck after Victoria's Secret models moved to the basement. Arctic, I wasn't going to go there, but you did. Something is up. Chris was asking for jobs in the military when I asked if I could work in UAP department, and a prompt output glitched out, matrix-like raining. Huh? Don't know what's going on there. I'm here to get your money, but keep those worthless Zim dollars. That's Arctic. Big Bear Planet. We have unfortunately elected officials that don't inspire us. We're in a very dark place in America. We have a bully and a thug who is president of the United States. Richard Gere, February 2025. Well, Richard Gere is an asswipe. He's got the intelligence of two pissants that are trying to mate. Richard Gere is about as dumb as, who's the idiot from Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Sean Penn. Yeah, there are things we can do. Hang on. Ladies and gentlemen, one good thing about American politics and our polity is there actually is a solution to our problems. In South Africa, you don't have a solution because you don't vote for people. You vote for parties, so you're kind of screwed. But in America, every now and then, we can change the path. You see, folks, you can't fix stupid, but you can sure vote it out of office. You can't fix stupid, but you can vote it out. There you go. And that's what we did this year. We voted stupid out. Stupid is, as stupid says, as stupid does. My mama told me life's like a box of chocolates. And we voted the bums out. I want to voice the fact that there are many white foreigners like me who made our home in South Africa and because of skin color. You're right, Zariana Grisel. Are you a South African citizen? If you're a South African citizen, then you might qualify for the program. If you're not, I think the empathy is probably going to be unfortunately not with you. It's going to be like, well, you got a home, you can go back there. I don't know, just saying. Right. Sedgefield is in from the garden route. Carrie McDougall's back. I love that name, McDougall. Gerhard Duprier, we can take Patrice Motsepe's. There you go. Lost audio, stay safe. Well, Gus, refresh your page. Let me see. Refresh your page. Yeah, the sound is there. Carl Carney is in Panama, and the timeline here is exactly the same. You might be 20 seconds ahead. Okay, cool beans. Well, yeah, no, my chat, I'm 5 minutes behind reading the chat. And so if that's only 20 seconds between you, then you're not really tracking with the live stream. But yeah, the live stream is supposed to be 4 to 5 seconds behind. But YouTube, sometimes the data slips. It's imperceptible. It's not noticeable to the human ear, human eye, that over time, the long stream, it slips a little further behind because you don't see a skip, whatever. And before you know it, if you're not in a couple hours, you could be like 2 or 3 minutes behind somebody. It just happens. It's just the way data flows. It's the way the data flows. Xander. Okay? Jacinda Ardern to lead Global Fellowship Progressive Leadership. She's not done causing chaos. Oh, that's right. Thank you very much for that. Did we have a phone conversation? Was I drunk? What are you talking about? Yes, for sure. If you're coming this way, it's brutal. I'm literally sleeping inside my sleeping bag and wearing my army toque in the house. Oh, you're talking up there. And Shawnee says, extreme cold watch here in Minnesota. Yeah, it's cold in Alberta, too. Tim Martin's, a lot of actors stuffed up most of my favorite. Yeah, I can't watch anything with De Niro because he's an ass. Yeah. I can't watch anything with Charlize Theron. You know, I just think she was like smoking hot, but she's smoking stupid. Dries Niemann. Hi, Chris. I'm an Afrikaner. I want to know, may I jump the gun by going to the USA and claim refugee before the resettlement? You can do that, but you're going to be deported as an illegal alien. Refugees are not people in America. You can't claim refugee status if you're here. So Dries, I don't recommend it, but you want to give it a shot, give it a try. Once we find you, you'll be deported along with the Mexicans and the Kazakhs and the Indians and the Iranians and the Nigerians and the Brits and all the other people who slipped in this country illegally. Nope, refugee is only someone who is outside of the United States and meets certain criteria. Normally it's from a war zone, but we're making an exception in this case. I think it must come to a point whenever it is the speculations make people crazy like sheep in a pen. Well, that's because people are making themselves crazy like sheep in a pen. I mean, I always ask for my curriculum vitae for consideration to be nominated for the Trump administration in December. It's February. I've not heard from anybody. Do you see me freaking out? Do you see me freaking out? I know it's not the same. I can't compare it. You're being offered a job and working in the Trump administration to potentially getting out of a life-altering crisis in South Africa. It's not the same. But my point is that you can't let that weigh on your conscience, folks. There's nothing you can do about it. And right now, you don't even know if it applies to you. You have no idea if you're even going to be eligible for it. It's just a marker that someone's put out there and says, this, hope. What's being offered to you now is what was offered to me at the beginning of the United Rugby Championship season, that the Stormers would be a great team and that they would win the championship this year. Unfortunately, the Stormers are 4 wins and 7 losses. The season's over. I mean, they might make the playoffs, but they're not going anywhere. It's a terrible, terrible team. Very disappointing. Hard to admit that. People are calling for John Dobson's head. I disagree. That's the problem. Mr. Neil Diamond. Not sure. Maybe you know better. I don't know him at all, but I will be interviewing him. So he'll be on the program. I'll interview people on the political left. I have no problem with interviewing people on the political left. The only yard markers that I put down is I won't interview known racists and idiots and people that are intolerable. People on the left can be okay. I mean, they're just wrong-headed, but I don't know where Mr. Diamond sits. If he's on the left, that's odd that he's in charge of the South African Chamber of Commerce. That is strange. But he will be on the program, as I said, on Tuesday, 9 a.m. my time, so that's going to be 4 p.m. South African time. We're going to talk about what's been going on, people contacting the Chamber of Commerce, because they're the ones making the most news. And people are making false claims about applications for asylum when they're really conflating people expressing interest to the South African Chamber of Commerce. If the ANC intensifies the laws as they have announced, what will be the impact or response to the U.S.? I'm assuming nothing changes. It's not anymore. Yeah, well, Christian Peter say, you're premising your question, and not unreasonably so, on the fact that people think that Donald Trump issued this executive order because Donald Trump is overly concerned about what's happening to people in South Africa. Well, that's a factor, but that's not the reason for this order. People need to read the order and read the purpose of the order. It's very clear that finally the U.S. government is saying enough is enough. You poke us in the eye, we're not going to take it anymore. You keep smacking the United States and making false claims and allegations against us. We're just not going to tolerate it. Enough is enough. We don't know you anything. You're shitting in our pot and you expect us to eat it. Not going to happen, man. Not going to happen. It's about time that someone did this. It's long overdue. And in fact, it shouldn't just be for South Africa. It should be every country that screws us over. Every single country screws us over. And if people say, well, America's isolationist. We're not isolationist. I mean, why can the Europeans impose a 10% tariff on Cadillacs and we can only put a 2.5% tariff on BMWs? How is that just and fair? How is that correct? How is that right? I mean, if I can ship Vermont teddy bears to England for 10% tariff, but they only pay 2.5% tariff to send their Paddington bears here. Of course, they don't make Paddington bears in the UK. They're all made in China. We know that. But Vermont teddy bears, some of them are actually made in Vermont, amazingly. I know. Once upon a time, I was a shareholder. Annabelle says, newsroom reported Ron Post is sending envoys to the U.S. to talk to President Trump to correct his understanding of redress. Let me ask you a question, Annabelle. How do you think that's going to go? How do you think that's going to go? Do you think it's going to go very well? So Cyril Ramaphosa has been insulting the United States in Parliament, members of Parliament insulting the United States in Parliament, lying about America, misleading people about what's going on. And now they are telling us that Donald Trump is too stupid to understand what's going on, so they're going to send envoys. Do you think they're even going to see President Trump? These people aren't even going to get an audience with Trump. This is dumber than running your mouth in Parliament. The condescending, arrogant asshattery of elite, moronic government officials in the South African government thinking that they can send a delegation to America to set us right. Think about that for a second. These arrogant, race-hustling, race-peddling, slimy little losers are going to send representatives here to tell us that we got it wrong, when they're always pissing and moaning and bitching about we're sticking our nose in their business and their domestic affairs, and we're condescending because we've sent a team to set them straight. Do you see this? Look, listen, anytime you hear somebody criticize the United States, I'm going to just tell you this right now. You should look at it through a jaded lens, because 90% of the time it's all bullshit. Well, America invaded Iraq for oil. Did we really? Please, somebody, anybody here, tell me which American petroleum companies operate in Iraq and have been there since 2003. Can somebody name one of them? Anybody? And if you can, how much money have they made from Iraq? We spent $3 trillion there. Can somebody tell me? Anybody? You can't, because they aren't. Who's there? Elf Aquitaine Total. Oh, the French-Italian conglomerate. British Petroleum or Beyond Petroleum. Yeah. CNOC, the Chinese National Oil Company. That's who's in Iraq, not us. Wasn't for oil for us. What a crock of horse shit. That's all the lefty said. Oh, well, it's oil. Not about oil. Not to do with oil. By the way, how much oil do we get from the saving Saudi Arabia and liberating Kuwait in 1990-91? Nothing. We don't get any oil out of Saudi Arabia. We're not responsible for it. They nationalized their oil industry in the 1950s and stole it from American company. These people and their juvenile, asinine, stupid nonsense, and now they're doing the same thing, attacking America because they're blaming us for their HIV problems that they've created, they've ignored, and we've had the generosity of 22 years of taking care of it, and we're not going to do it into perpetuity. We don't have the money. Are we supposed to collapse? And talk about short-sighted. If the United States collapses financially, the world ends. Oh, you're going to say, Chris, you're full of it. You just think America's great. Well, yeah, I do. America is great. But the world is based, international trade is done in dollars. Oil is traded in dollars. Financial markets are based off of international trade and currency trade and movement of resources in a system established by the United States that the world uses. And if the United States were to collapse financially, the world would go to shit in a heartbeat. People think it's not going to. They're just delusional. So it's stupid of people in Africa to sit here and drain us and call us names when we decide we don't have the money. We have to get our house in order. And you have responsibility for your own people. It's just beyond comprehension. Yeah, Annabelle, so they can send their representatives here. I've been talking about that for the past 3 days. I don't know who's coming, but the rumor was that that John Steenhuisen is coming. Now, remember, John Steenhuisen is the guy who insulted President Trump. Remember that? And then Dr. Groenewald and then Gate McKenzie. I don't know if that's true. I don't think that this is a wise move. Let me see if I can find little Johnny Boy's tweet here from a few years ago, what he said about Donald Trump. Now, this, to be fair, is from 2016. He may have changed his opinion. But, yeah, here it is. Here you go. Here's Johnny Boy's little tweets. This is what he had to say about President Trump just a few years ago when he was going to run for president in 2016. So I know it's 9 years ago, and I have confirmed this is real. It's not. I didn't run this until I got confirmation. I went to his website and I tracked the tweet down. But this is from what Johnny Boy had to say about our president 10 years ago. Donald Trump is a deeply disturbing individual. Clinton is by no means perfect, but on her worst day is better suited to be U.S. president. Okay, my issue there is not the insult to Trump. My issue there is that if John Steenhuisen actually thought that Hillary Clinton was suited to be president, it reminds me of the political competence of someone like Natasha Mazzone, whose heroine is Nancy Pelosi. I heard her say that. It's on Joe Emilio's show a few years ago. If you think that Nancy Pelosi is a person worth emulating, you are completely lost on the political spectrum. The woman is a crooked, lying piece of human sewage. Not Natasha Mazzone, Nancy Pelosi. I don't know Natasha Mazzone. I wouldn't say that about her. People are just running around going crazy. They should just relax and what will happen will happen. Exactly. Can you interview all those in the 80s who supported the ANC? Can you identify all those people supporting the ANC in the 1980s? I think Donald Trump could send around a picture of the house in Blauberg from a Predator drone. I think J.D. Vance was just a couple steps away from giving all Europeans, giving all what? But especially Brits an offer. Oh, yeah. J.D. Vance was awesome in Munich, and it pissed off the German minister. And the German minister can shove it. He's wrong. Do a stream with Mpofu Wash. I have never interacted with Mpofu Wash except on Twitter. What's his name? Junior there. Mpofu Wash was on Twitter, and he posted something, and I commented on it, and he responded back. We had a little Twitter spat, I guess, for a day or two. But that's my only interaction with him. I have listened to his interviews, and the reason I watched those interviews is because he went and interviewed Gate McKenzie. And I find his interviews to be highly absent in objectivity and very much stinted towards race hustling and racism. Not accusing me of racist. No, I don't know. I don't know anything about the guy. But his comments are completely ludicrous. And so, but if I want to say Dolly, because Dolly and Pofu, but if Junior Walsh there, Mpofu Walsh, would like to come on this program, I'm happy to have him on. No problem about that. You know, discourse is always good. Like I said, I only keep avowed racists and idiots off the program. He's probably just been inculcated with the wrong information over the years. And YouTube's content is crashing again. Boy, YouTube is such a pain in the butt. The tabs just keep crashing. It doesn't matter which browser you use. By the way, folks, I should let you know. Remember, we had some trouble last couple nights. We've had some issues with the internet, and I dropped off. Well, I received text messages from my cable provider earlier, unsolicited. I didn't ask this. I never reported a fault. People must have, because I received the following text message, which was interesting. So this afternoon, hi, it's the Xfinity Assistant. This is an automated message. We've identified a network performance issue that may be affecting your service and needs to be repaired right away. We're actively working to fix it by 3:10 p.m. And that was sent at 1:09, so that was 2 hours before they expect to be done. We'll do our best to minimize disruption in your area. During this time, you could experience a service interruption, and it gives my address. We apologize for the inconvenience, and we'll text you when the issue is resolved. Okay? And then another message came at 3:30, a little over 2 hours later. It says, we've completed work in your area to fix an urgent network performance issue to ensure we deliver the fast, reliable experience you expect. If your services was affected, it should be up and running now. Thank you for your patience for being an Xfinity customer. Now, look, I'm not happy with what I pay these guys. It's outrageous. But I would say that that's incredible customer service. I didn't even have to call them. They identified the problem, and they fixed it. Yeah. So, still heartbroken about Stormers. We need wins to stay in the competition. Yeah, we do. We got to win. We got to win out. We need to win out. That's what we have to do. But that's not going to happen. Tony, that's I'm not buffering. That must have been on your end. XKT Pro League. Johnny had his nuts. Any comments? Vance versus. Yeah, well, I just said that, Billy Peterson. Vance was correct and the Germans were wrong. And they're going to pay a very severe price for what they did, their behavior, and their attacks on Elon Musk. Clinton is pure evil. Thank goodness that did not happen. Yes, exactly, Solomon. It's utterly stupidity, Colonel. Steenhuisen doesn't know jack shite. Yeah, Tony, I agree. Okay. Just imagine the shock if this refugee program comes into motion. If you think they're losing it now, it's going to be shit. Oh, wow, I know. Oh, folks, if people are worried about me getting sleep now, you're tired, Bert, go to bed. Colonel, we're worried about your health. I appreciate that. But if you think, wait till the conditions of this thing are released, and if it's generous, it's going to be crazy. But, there won't be. It won't be, because nobody's interested. Real Afrikaners won't leave South Africa. There's no racism against white South Africans. I mean, we heard this from Nick Serfontein, the big farmer in the Free State. We've heard this from Agri SA. We've heard this from the DA. We've heard this from all kinds of reliable sources. They're, of course, and Cyril Ramaphosa himself said back in 2018, there are no farm murders in South Africa. No white farmers are being murdered. That's Donald Trump is wrong, And we've also heard, Cyril talk about, Donald Trump can keep his America. We don't need his America. We'll keep our South Africa. Yeah, no, good for you, Cyril. You keep your South Africa, Cyril. No, you can have your South Africa. No, Cyril Ramaphosa. Where am I at here? This is where I want. Okay. Yes, we've heard from Cyril. Where's he at? Where's my darn? There it is. Here we go.
And we've been saying, over this issue of the land,
yes,
this issue that Donald Trump fears so much,
Donald Trump.
This question of the land, I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here. And he must keep his America. We will keep our South Africa.
Yebo, Amandla, away.
South Africa is our land.
Yes.
South Africa belongs to all the people who live here.
Not according to you.
It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America.
I have to say, I'm very confused by Cyril's comment. If South Africa belongs to all the people there, then why do you feel the need to steal it from a group of people if it belongs to everybody? What's going on there? Okay, CNS must not go over to USA. They're going yeah, they are wasting time coming over. It's very insulting and condescending. They're not going to get a meeting with Trump unless Trump. Wait, okay, let me tell you this. Okay, shall we do a preview of how it goes? Okay. Let me. Where's my? Oh, my flashlight disappeared. Damn it. Okay, hang on. I need a prop here. Okay, here we go. Here's my prop. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we go now live to the Oval Office of the White House, where President Donald Trump is meeting with a delegation representing the government of South Africa. They've come to tell Donald Trump that he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's misinformed. Let's go now to the Oval Office. First up is the leader of the Democratic Alliance, the Minister of Agriculture from South Africa. President Trump, you've been misinformed. Nil compensation doesn't mean zero. It doesn't mean zero. No. It means we'll give them nothing and they'll be happy about it, which means not zero. They'll just be happy about it. Looking at Donald Trump's face. Dr. Herneval will speak. Gate McKenzie will speak. Gate McKenzie will no doubt point out how colors in South Africa are being amused, and rightly so, but not germane to the topic. So John Steenhuisen jumps in again. Mr. President, hey, look, we weren't asking you any questions. We didn't ask you to speak. You just wait till I'm done. Yeah, it's not going to go well, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you that right now. Not going to go well. Is there a 2% chance that Trump could revert off kind of refugee status? What kind of question is that, Mickey? 2%. All politicians are slippery snakes. COVID showed us clear. Yep, Tim, you're right. Trump does not even try to be political. He just takes no... Well, and that's what I take here. No prisoners, no bullshit approach. No prisoners, no bullshit approach right here. What's with the late streaming, man? Why can't you sleep? Gideon Schaumburg. What's with the late streaming? Who said I can't sleep? I got plenty of sleep. Where do you get that I can't sleep? What's with people coming to the chat and causing chaos? Why can't you behave? Clive Malherba, how does Christian fundamentalism influence the right in the USA? It doesn't. It doesn't. I'm on political right. I'm not far right. I'm right of center. Christian fundamentalism doesn't bother me at all. What the hell's Christian fundamentalism? There's such a thing. Christian fundamentalism? No such thing. Evangelism? Yes, evangelism is very big in America. That's true. But that has no impact on me whatsoever. My worldview isn't affected by Christian evangelicals any more than it is by Muslim radicals. Nope. Not so. Yeah, Kathleen, that is excellent service delivery. I haven't always gotten that. I've had to complain. They take you for granted, but still, at least you have recourse. So I've had to replace my modem 3 times in 3 years. Willem B&B, when do you sleep? Thank you for all your videos and dedication. You're very welcome. I sleep when I need to. I normally sleep when events aren't going. I normally sleep, from about midnight to about 5 or 6 in the morning. I get up. When I'm tired, I'll sleep to 6 or 7. But right now, things are happening. And people want to know what's going on. You also laughed at Trump for suggesting they are too dependent on Russian energy. Yeah, exactly. The Germans are paying the highest price in the world for electricity, and German citizens are being robbed blind because they closed their nuclear-fired power plants in favor of green energy that's non-existent, and then relied on Russian gas and pretend it was all green sources. Windmills was providing their energy and solar panels, which was bullshit. So when the Russian gas was cut off because either the CIA and or the Germans blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, well, now they're screwed. Germans have to pay a fortune for imported natural gas from America and other places. Marissa says, what do you think about Kentucky as a place to stay? Kentucky's nice. It's all right. Bluegrass state. What do I think about mobile homes? I think mobile homes are horrible. They're an eyesore. They're a blot on the landscape. But they're oftentimes all that certain people can afford because of their income bracket or their behavior with their money. Mobile homes are terrible. They're terrible. I lived in a mobile home. It's an absolutely horrible way to exist, in my view. I mean, they're safe. They're okay to live in, but it's not a house, not a home. All right. You asked me. I gave you my opinion. Armageddon, good morning to you. I bet someone is going to make that bit that you just said in a short and taken. What bit was that, South African? Yeah, exactly. No worries. We'll keep our America. Well, we are keeping our America. We're cutting $500 million of annual aid to South Africa. Thank you for your advice, Cyril Ramaphosa. We will keep our America and our $500 million. So, Cyril, my friend, no soup for you. No $500 million for Cyril Ramaphosa. We keep this in America now. Donald Trump can keep his America. Indeed, he can. Indeed, he can. So, no more money for you, Cyril. No more grifting from the table. You can try your race-hustling, racist, vaccine apartheid. Yes, we know. You've exposed yourself long ago. The problem is that the Political elites let you get away with it because they were fat, dumb, and happy. Getting their time on Fox News or MSNBC, getting their $172,000 a year in salary, their secretaries, their perks, their free travel, their little junkets around the world. Oh, I have to go to Africa to look into AIDS. And they go for 2 weeks and they stay in luxury hotels at government expense, eating big meals at government expense, going on safaris on their free time, all at taxpayer expense on little junkets. But, ooh, the grift is over. Funny how they run down their speeches when they talk political motivation. Exactly. Yeah, Trump doesn't talk down his speeches anytime. His speeches are always talked down. Philip Funny-Kerk says, our people does not include white people. That's what you mean, Cyril. Desmond says, thank you for your passion. You're very welcome. See, Gideon wants to come here and troll. Okay, Gideon. Gideon heard that those who were recorded at the low attendance rally, it showed that they were not persecuted and free to gather and protest, not need a refugee status. Gideon. Oh, gosh. I mean, I love leftist trolls. Gideon, do you get paid for this? Because they're not getting their money's worth out of you. Not getting their money's worth out of you. Is there anything in this order that says that people in South Africa were denied the right to assemble? They've been denied the right to protest. Such a ludicrous 7-year-old and mindset of the fact that someone is able to gather and not be harassed does not prove that someone has not been the victim of racial oppression. That's just silly. In fact, it's very clear. This country's government countless policies designed to dismantle equal opportunity in employment, education, and business. Employment is not a gathering. Education is not a gathering. Business is not a gathering. Yeah, hateful rhetoric and government actions. Well, we have it all over the place. We have the government. We have members of parliament screaming and shouting, kill the Boer. Yeah, we have members in municipal council saying, I want the blood of an Afrikaner in my hands. I want to moor a Boer. I want to moor a Boer. This person is serving in the Tshwane City Council. Deputy mayor now, isn't he? Isn't he deputy mayor now? Yeah, I want the blood of an Afrikaner. These violent, racist scumbags are in government. So don't try to come in here with your horseman or Gideon. Show that they were not persecuted. What a bunch of horseshit. What a bunch of horseshit. Persecution isn't one aspect. It can be one, it can be more. Nice try, Gideon. Survey says, wrong. The ANC is too indebted to Russia and China and morally bankrupt. They will never bend the knee. Well, no one's asking them to bend the knee to the United States. See that's the whole problem. No one's asking the ANC to bend the knee to the United States. No one. We're not asking them to bend the knee. You don't have to bend the knee to the United States. Why would you bend the knee to the United States? There's nothing here that says South Africa must do this or will do this. Nothing. These are actions taken because of the situation in South Africa, as it is. There's no promise here of any return of free money. We don't have any money. What a comical nonsense. That's the problem, Warren, is they've so brainwashed South Africans into thinking that if the ANC changes the behavior, the money's going to come back. No, it's not. What will happen is if the ANC keeps his horse manure up, it's going to get worse. And there will be punishment. That's the bottom line. European countries tax and Christian values are just insanity, making even silent prayer illegal in public or your own house. And certainly, yeah. New stats show that only 22% of the land is owned by whites. Where's that information coming from, Mario Ferrara? I haven't seen that anywhere. Haven't seen that information. And what is a low turnout for you? Now, if you're going to be an honest analyst here, Gideon, there's a number of factors coming into play. Number one, short notice. Number two, the rally was oppressed by the media. No media outlets, IOL, Daily Mail, Daily Maverick, Mail and Guardian, News 24, Independent Line, not one of them, SABC, Newsroom Africa, ENCA, not one of these outlets, Jacaranda FM, none of them, well, maybe Jacaranda did, but none of these outlets advertised or promoted or talked about this rally. So many people didn't know about it, number one. Number two, a lot of people don't have the money to pay for petrol, drive all the way to Pretoria. Number three, if you take the 3,000 people who were there, and yes, it was at least 3,000 people, the lying media are unbelievable and they're shame. But and that's not a lot of people. I'll tell you, that's not a lot of people. But if you take the 3,000 based on the number of white people who live in and around Pretoria, or just Afrikaners who live in and around Pretoria, it's a significant percentage of the population. So let's not try to play this down. Also, the organizers didn't have unlimited, unfettered resources from dark money like EFF does to load people on buses in Johannesburg and drive them down to Senekal in the Free State with KFC meals and three-piece streetwise and T-shirts and have them cause chaos in Senekal, ripping down the street signs in Afrikaans and smashing rubbish bins to bits. The people that organized this are not a political party. The people that organized this were private citizens. And for an event organized by private citizens, This is pretty darn impressive. And if you don't believe that, you're just being intellectually dishonest. Intellectually dishonest. Rama's envoy should simply be shunned. Yeah, exactly. Speak to the hand. Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen. Speak to the hand. Ramaphosa says whites own everything, but he's a billionaire. Yep, Chris has done more for minorities than any so-called minority leader. Well, thank you, Ben. Although some people fall in love with Vin Petzer, he's a decent guy. But yeah, okay. Wonder what lies were said at the summit. President Trump will put on his gangster face. He should. I watched some clips of America. Yeah, America's huge, man. It's huge. Chris is up late to do morning news for us in our time zone. Yeah. Chris is our military lookout, watching our stuff while the rest of us sleep. Okay, so Gideon. All right, Gideon. Gideon looks like he's going to say something straight here. He said, "Let me be frank about EWC's purpose. My rich friends and family buy up viable land to prevent low-income housing from being built near them. A spiteful behavior, don't you think?" Well, how are you honest? Who are your rich friends? Who are your rich friends, and what land has been bought up? You see, the problem with your argument there, Gideon, is there may be truth to it, but that's how the world is all over. I can show you a development a few miles east of where I live, about 5 kilometers east of here, which I'd love to live in. Houses that cost $1.5 million. Beautiful setting, slightly rolling hills that come up such wide distance between houses. And they bought all the land up there so no one can build around them. That's their prerogative. I don't want people sitting on my stoop. If I had the money, I'd have a bigger yard around me too. There's nothing wrong with that. What you should be asking, Gideon, is the following question. Why is the government of South Africa sitting on 17 million hectares of land? Why is the government of South Africa not giving title to the RDP houses and land? See, stop attacking the people buying land. That's their prerogative. Land's freely available. It's available for sale. You don't yet live in a fully communist state in South Africa. Ask yourself the question, what has the government of South Africa done with the land they bought? And also, this lie and bullshit about land, all I have to do is show you the case of Ackerland Broderie, and then the fake stream legacy media lying about Ackerland Broderie. Well, Ackerland Broderie was never expropriated. True, it wasn't legally. They tried, and they were stopped by the courts. So that's number one. It would have been expropriated had the owners not been able to get help, and someone tried to correct me, said it wasn't AfriForum, but it was AfriForum's legal team. SAAI didn't have the money, and AfriForum jumped in. SAAI jumped in to help the landowners protect the land. When they got the notice late in the week, like on a Friday or something like that, and they told them it had to be off by Sunday, it was expropriated without any compensation. Well, with the $20 million, but that's not fair compensation. So they got AfriForum involved. They fought the case. Cost 800,000 rand to get the courts to stop the expropriation. So now the case is stopped, but the handwriting was on the wall. The two owners of the game ranch in Limpopo, the Ackerland Broderie, saw that they weren't going to win this thing. It was just a matter of time. And why was it the issue? Was it for the claimants? And I don't know, are they vendor that are there, whoever they were, but those people, they claim this, our grandfathers are, I love that term, my grandfathers, 37 generations ago? Anyway, our grandfathers were there. We were not allowed to go on the land. Well, why not? They sold the land. Why can't you go on it? Oh, because the government didn't buy the land. The government didn't acquire the land. No, after they tried to force them into expropriating it for the hidden secret that no one talked about, the land was sold to a coal company, which is what it was about all along. A coal company, Coal of Africa, headquartered in Melbourne, Australia. Current composition of its board of directors is 50% Chinese communist nationalist. Chinese nationals, communist. 50% of the board, Chinese communists. 4 mines, none of them on Ackerland Broderie. That land was later sold because they didn't go look for coal. They sold it to a Saudi prince. The land now belongs to a Saudi prince. He's not black. He's not African. He's not even a South African citizen. But no one's screaming about him and expropriating his property. But they threatened the white owners of that land because they wanted to give it to the coal company so they could exploit it, so that the politicians could get their cut and their dirty money from the coal company. And they claim it's in the public interest. So now the game ranch has been sold. The owners got 80 million rand. Whether that was a fair price or not really isn't germane. They were forced to sell the land immorally so that a coal company could profit, and the coal company never dug the coal, and now the land belongs to Saudi prince. And the people claim it, the argument that, well, it's for the poor, it's for the dispossessed, it's for the historically disadvantaged, that is total horse manure, because not one of those people has got 1 square centimeter of that land. They still don't have the land. It belongs to a Saudi prince now. And this is how it's gone case after case after case after case after case after case in South Africa. These people are racist liars, using race as a cudgel, lies about history. Unbelievable. So I don't know who your rich friends are, Gideon, but you know what? I don't care. If you got rich friends that can afford to buy land to keep people off of it so they have distance between them, that is their prerogative. People don't have a right to live on land just because it's there. It's not how the real world works. If that's the case, I want County Clare. I want Killarney. Killarney belongs to me. My ancestors are from there. We were defrauded and chased out of there by the English. Give it back. Imagine working your whole life to own your own property. In one swoop, it can be taken away without compensation. You can do nothing. Well, here's a perfect case, Tony. Zimbabwe. 42% of the commercial farmland so designated by the government of Zimbabwe in the year 2000 was purchased after 1980. There was no Ian Smith government. There was no Rhodesian Front. There was no Universal Declaration of Independence, UDI. It was Zimbabwe. And Prime Minister Mugabe was in charge until 88 when he became President Mugabe. And in those 20 years, the British government from 1980 to 1992 gave the government of Zimbabwe 63 million British pounds to purchase land. Yeah. So every land sale in Zimbabwe had to be approved by the ministry. You couldn't buy, I can go to Zimbabwe, I want to buy land. I can, but then I wait. The government gets first right of refusal. If they don't want it, then I can buy it. If they want it, it doesn't matter what I want to pay for it, I can't have it. So, 38% of the commercial farmers in Zimbabwe at that stage in the year 2000 had only become commercial farmers, yeah, you guessed it, after 1980. They weren't in the settler columns. They didn't necessarily have ancestors that came into Zimbabwe in 1890. Most of the whites who were in Zimbabwe, they came after World War II and settled there. A lot of British war veterans came there after World War II. So, yes, imagine working your whole life to save money. You live in Zimbabwe, you grow up, you go to high school there, and you want a farm. And you get the money together, or you borrow money and you buy a farm, only to have people come by and steal it from you and attempt to murder you because of your skin color. I don't want to hear this nonsense. Gideon, your arguments make no sense. If you're gonna make an argument, put something behind it. Okay? In the Sona debate, Sennheiser said they're turning to curb farming. He is part of. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They want to bring back the. He mentioned bringing back commandos. The ANC will not let the commandos come back. Hillary Strauss, good morning. Good to hear you too. Critical reviewer. Meanwhile, Julius Malema alleges he will not be bullied. CC says, we need you as our ambassador. Joel Pollack apparently is the inside man. Everyone's pushing it. Biz News, Rob Hersoff, a whole bunch of people are pushing him as the presumptive nominee. Not that that will influence the Trump administration, but I don't outstand a snowball's chance now. Trump doesn't know who I am. And I'm probably just a little too honest. So AI running U.S. government is the natural next step. The only side is hallucinations from time to time. Okay, Gideon, that's an entertaining thing you said. AI, that's funny. You don't think legacy media had any proof of this? That would be exactly. If the legacy media had proof of any of the things that the trolls come in here and say, then that would be the story all over legacy media. South Africa was gifted billions of rands to produce vaccines. Yep, $711 million, 15 billion rand, and they didn't produce any vaccines. Where I live, the board said it won't go easy for those who goes to try. They will shoot. Well, we'll see. 10 people showing up at a rally is big. 3,000 is massive. Exactly. You're right, Solomon. Yep. What else here? Keith says Air Force One's Daytona 800-foot fly pass was cool. I didn't see the fly pass, but I did see Trump in the Beast riding around the. He did that 5 years ago too at Daytona, so he replicated that. Okay, I live on a farm in Mohali's. No farm workers. Everything done by myself, my wife, and 2 sons. Well, Mario, I guess we'll take your farm then, because you must have stolen it from the people that lived there 50,000 years ago. Mohali's. Okay, good to see you there. Unfortunately, it didn't receive $1 of that money thrown at us. Well, I got you, Annabelle. Well, the money is spent largely for HIV. If you don't have HIV or you're avoiding it, it's not really going to affect you. Okay, jumped ahead on me again here. So, folks, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program. Hope you're doing well. Courtney Bester, just looking at BE legislation is evidence enough that there's clear discrimination. Exactly. You don't have to go any further. You just have to look at the legislation. Well, I take you to the Tourism Relief Fund. Clearly racist. 250 likes out of 332 people. Somebody's being lazy. Come on.
That was easy.
Yeah, come on. Hit the like button. Okay, I'll be angry if someone in the South African delegation after reform takes Trump's offer to help us and throw it in his face. What? Throw it in his face. I wouldn't worry about that. During apartheid, people press it all the time, so I guess that means there was no oppression during apartheid. Cracker World Kid, that's good. That's good. You hit it nail on the head. That's perfect. Well, I guess there was no oppression during apartheid because people protested all the time. That's good. Gideon says, I can only speak for the Afrikaners I know, and they have no interest in going. They also believe Trump won't keep his promise, a tool to punish us on Israel's behalf. Well, Gideon, that's probably the most honest thing you've said. You can only speak for the people you know, and they have no interest in going. And I have no doubt they have no interest in going. Most Afrikaners aren't going anywhere. Who said they are? Why does anybody believe most Afrikaners are going to leave? Where is that coming from? No one claimed that. Let's do another poll tonight before we get into it. Start a poll. All right, polls back up. Yeah, so they believe Trump won't keep his promise. Well, they can believe whatever they want. They can believe the sky is full of unicorns and rainbows and pink things. That doesn't make it true. You don't know whether Trump's going to keep a promise. Why? Let me ask you this, Gideon. Why in the world would South African Afrikaners, unless they're not very bright, think Trump won't keep his promise? What does Trump promise to do? Well, he's pretty much done everything he has promised to do. He promised to end DEI in federal government. Gone. He promised to reform foreign aid, done. Well, in process. He promised to end transgender in federal, gone. He promised to end men participating in women's sports, done. He promised, everything he's promised to do, he's done. He threatened Canada and Mexico with tariffs if they didn't reform their policies on our borders. And he did put the tariffs, but then suspend them for 30 days. After 30 days, we'll see if they continue. Mexico and Canada are scrambling to respond. Everything Trump has said he'll do, he has done. Why would he back out on this? I mean, this is just stupid stuff. I mean, if Trump was like Biden, he promised this, promised that, and didn't deliver on anything, then you go, he never delivers anything. You got a basis. But I mean, not only does Trump deliver, he delivers in a fast fashion. So, they may be right, but what's their basis for making it? Why won't he do it? Such skeptical people. This is why Afrikaner community and the Boer community is so broken and disconnected, because of this nonsense. You know what? Stop being little piss ants and pissy little whiny little bitches and just shut your mouths and keep it to yourselves. If you don't want to come to America, good. You want to come to America, good. But stop the divisive bullshit and stop attacking people that want to come and stop attacking people that don't want to come. It's juvenile and childish. I'm so sick of it. It's nonsense. Again, 10 Afrikaners in one room, 12 leaders. 10 Afrikaners, 35 opinions. Good Lord. Had a police officer in a shop one day said he feels like shooting a white man today will give him enjoyment. Good God. Wow. That's unbelievable. Question is, why is Ron Post sending those three to go? I don't know that that's the three. I don't know that that's the three. These are just rumors. I've not seen who's coming. The media is saying that he's sending his teams all over to France and to Tanzania and places like that, and then they're going to go to America. So I don't know, but we'll see. 702 report a few hundred showed up. Well, 702 can report all they want. I have the videos. I have the footage. We covered it live. And 702 is not a trained intelligence analyst who is trained to estimate crowd size, are they? Tell me the analyst that works at Radio 702, Gideon, that is a trained intelligence analyst that is trained in estimating crowd size. Please give me their name, and I'll be happy to reach out to them and ask their methodology for their few hundred. Even News 24 admitted 1,500. Gideon, even News 24, Propaganda 24 admitted 1,500. That's a hell of a lot more than a few hundred. There were 3,000 to 4,000 people present. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If there were 3 people, that's all that mattered. That's all that mattered. The purpose of the rally was to deliver a message to Donald Trump. Mission accomplished. Yeah, it was advertised in WhatsApp, YouTube, and Facebook, where it cost them nothing. ANC hates whites so much, all while using the white man's technology and speak white. Yeah, exactly. No, and colonialism, while they sit there on WhatsApp and send messages around and organize and ride around in their BMW 7 Series with their $10,000 designer suits, Western designer suits, eating, filet mignon. Yeah. Henny Stain, welcome to you. Yeah, the Afrikaner, well, yeah, and I don't have enough subscribers for people to know. Yeah, oh, that's another thing, Yaku Basson. It was a real crowd, a genuine crowd. It wasn't a rented crowd. That's another thing. So, for instance, hey, thank you, Lindsay. Brown something there, Brownjig. Yeah, that's another thing. The crowds that showed up at Senecal for the second Senecal event for the EFF, they were rented crowds. They just got a bunch of people in Joburg, put them on a bus, gave them some money, gave them some 3-piece streetwise and a T-shirt, and told them to toy. Yeah, that was not a real crowd. Yep. We all know how violently his apartheid protest ended. That's an odd statement. How they all ended. That's which ones? Sharpeville? Yeah, that ended violently. One of them in Soweto in '85, that ended badly. Yep. But there were lots of protests that ended quite peacefully during the apartheid era. Institute for Racial Relations gave some stats on land ownership, explained that it's outdated. Well, I've explained it's outdated, but I don't have the information because the government has not done another land survey. Okay. What was mentioned in numerous times? The hot full bikers. Yeah, I saw bikers there. I was there. Trust me, more than 2,000 were there. Yeah, no, it was more than 2,000, over 3,000 or more. Thoughts on Fred Daniel versus David Mabuza? It's been going on for years. I don't really have any thoughts on that. Maddie Duffy, welcome to you. Ali C. Maybe the criticism of whites about everything they built is falling apart is partly responsible for the hatred directed at them. What? Maybe the criticism from whites about everything they built falling apart is partly responsible for the hatred. So, are you making the argument there, Ali C., that white people, all 4.8 million people, so you've just lumped 4.8 million people into a group, and you're making a broad statement that 4.8 million people are responsible for hatred towards them because they're complaining that what they build is falling apart? This doesn't make any logic. What's your argument? You're saying that people that are not white, their feelings are hurt because white people are upset that there are potholes and that there's no rails and that there's no safety and that the hospitals are burned down and not repaired? Is that your argument, Ali? I mean, I'm asking. I'm trying to make sense. You only have so many characters, to be fair, so I'm not beating up on you here, but your argument with the few bit characters you have isn't making any sense to me. Poor suckers they interviewed in white squatter camps don't even get the news. Exactly. They didn't even know about it. I've had someone write to me who works with poor whites in squatter camps, and contrary to what the news has said, a lady has given me information and proven that there's a lot of interest to those who find out about this. They're fascinated by it, and they want to know if they can take their pets. Yep. Speaker. If a person speaks against the NC, then they lock the people up. In some instances, even make examples of them by sentencing them. Well, Kathleen, I'm not sure about that. What sensible person will name the friends and family buying up land? They will hate me. Well, Gideon, you're right. What sensible person would do it? But what person would come on here and make such a broad statement that rich people buy? I have friends, and so. Okay, Gideon, I don't expect you to name anybody. That was a bombastic comment to make a point. You don't have to name anybody. I wouldn't expect to name anybody. What the point was is that you made a statement. Well, I have rich Afrikaner friends. They buy up all the land. So how many rich Afrikaner friends do you have, Gideon? You must be well connected if you have a bunch of rich. I don't have any Afrikaner rich friends. I don't. I mean, I know a couple people who got money in South Africa, but I wouldn't know if they're my friends. But it certainly doesn't get any money my way as a consequence of knowing them. But your rich, connected friends, they bought all the land in the country? Is that what? Because that's just basically the statement you said. Basically, there's no land. I mean, it's not like South Africa is the size of Rhode Island. It's a big-ass country. There's a lot of land. And so that argument makes no sense. That was the point behind that. But thank you, Gideon, for playing along. Appreciate it. I don't expect you to give anybody's name up. No, that's silly. Trump now has his gangster face mugshot from his arrest. Yeah, that's awesome. Only black farms working and being rented by a white farmer. No, there are some successful black farms. There are some small-scale macadamia nut growers who are doing well. There's also a few other black farmers who are doing well. But oftentimes, it's mostly as a result of the white commercial farmers who are their neighbors helping them out because they got no help from the government. Doesn't mean they're not capable, but starting a farm isn't easy. You have to have access to capital. You have to have access to equipment. You have to have good luck. You have to have great resources. And, and starting from scratch is very difficult. So most of them have survived because they've had great entrepreneurialism, great hard work, and or they also had help from their neighbors. Lindsey Brown says, good morning. Good morning to you. It isn't often that we see someone subscribe and then jump in the chat immediately. Thank you for subscribing. ANC government is absolute disgrace. Finally, eyes are open. Thank you, Chris, for your informative YouTube channel. You're very welcome, Dylan. Please tell people about it. Spread the word. We need to grow this channel and get it going. We were stuck in purgatory for so long, so many years. I had no reason to stick around as long as I did. By the way, we're over 400 paying members of the channel. I don't know how long that'll last, but that's pretty exciting. I don't think that'll actually last very long because at least 100 of those or 200 of those are gifts that people gave and people aren't going to renew it. But still, thank you for that. Yeah, we're not quite at 45,000. It'd be nice if we reach 45,000 by the time I wake up in the morning, but I doubt that. Kilman says, enjoy the evening. My land in Limpopo was legally bought after 1994. Exactly, Joe. So why should your land be expropriated? If there are legal claimants for it, they had from 1995-99 for them or their descendants to claim it. If they didn't, then there's no basis for claiming it. So you should be left alone into perpetuity. Gideon says, the government owns land no one wants, so far from urban areas. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. Gideon, I'm not calling you a liar, but that's a narrative that's bullshit. Have you heard of the Red Ants? Do you know who the Red Ants are? They're a forced removal company, a so-called security company in Johannesburg. They occupy land owned by the state, and they do it all over, and they're evicted all the time by the Red Ants and the Johannesburg Metro Police Department in places people want. So far from urban areas. Well, okay, let's go back to that, Gideon. So far from urban areas. If I were to take that argument, which I won't disagree with, it's land nobody wants, so far from urban areas. Well, farms are so far from urban areas by and large. So why would anybody want farmland? Why would they have farmland so far from urban areas? You see, you're playing a circular argument here. You're arguing against your own case. Title deed's fair point. They should give it to people. I can see the point. Yeah, they should, Gideon. Why are they holding it? To keep them dependent on the state. Just like the Inganyama Trust. They can kick you off at any time. The chief lets you live here until you are no longer in favor of the chief. If the chief wants to diddle your 15-year-old daughter and she refuses and you don't send her to him, well, guess what? You don't get the farm there anymore. Hit the road, Jack. No, that's not a way to run a country. That form is stupid. They could have earned money and memberships from African refugees, but they instead threw us to the lines. All right, Mickey, stop. Now, I'm not going to accept that either. AfriForum is not stupid. AfriForum didn't do what you said. They didn't throw to anybody. AfriForum did not do any such thing. You guys are hearing what you want to hear. I heard the press conference. I've talked to Kali Creel. They didn't say what people are claiming. You're reading the newspapers and believing the bullshit. Watch the press conference. The only place I could find it was on Facebook. Ugh, I hate Facebook, but I watched the damn thing. It was like 50 minutes long. They never said any such thing. AfriForum didn't throw you to anybody. You're all being suckers believing the news. Listen for yourself. That's why I said, you don't have to believe me. And to Gideon, doesn't have to believe me. Look the stuff up. I don't make this crap up. Yes, statistics can be manipulated. I mean, like, for instance, I could make the argument and stand by it and be factually correct to say that this is nonsense. You ready for this? Okay, ready? They'll steal this. They'll make something of this. But those of you here, you'll know better. And this will stay here for the record. I'll have it. This is what they'll say. I could do this. Well, according to the land survey of 2017, whites only own 53% of the farms. That's true. That's factually true. White South Africans only own 53% of the farms. So this story that the whites own 70% of the land, how could that be true? Well, the white farm owners typically own far more acreage than other farm owners. Hence, only 53% of the farm owners owned a larger percentage of the actual farm land. Both statements are true. But see, I can play those games. But I don't do that. When I tell you that whites own 53% of the farms in 2017, they were 95,000 plus farm owners out of 181,000 total farm owners in South Africa. When I tell you that, I continue and say that, but white farm owners tend to own much more acreage than other farm owners. Therefore, they owned a larger percentage of the land than their percentage of farms. See, I'm honest, objective. I don't play around games. Bend the knee was the wrong phrase. Purely saying the ANC will never admit anything is wrong with their governing. Well, we'll see, but you're probably right. Willem Berger says, do you really think that they use all the money donated for AIDS relief? Really? Who governs how the money is spent? They buy cars and... No, first off, Willem, none of that money goes to the government of South Africa. None of it. It goes to third parties that are audited by the United States government. Now, whether we can trust those audits is a question. That's a fair question. As we're finding out from Doge, maybe we're not doing enough auditing. Yeah, right? But that money doesn't go to the South African government, and it isn't used to buy cars. Yeah, no, I know. I ran those projects all over Africa. Not in South Africa, but all over Africa, and accounted for that money. So I can tell you very specifically that some of these groups were making very thin margins and just providing services. So I appreciate where you're coming from, Willem, but there's no evidence that any of that is true. We don't give the money to the South African government. We give it to third parties. USAID used to give it to governments back in the 60s and 70s, and they found out that was a bad idea. So they basically became middlemen, contracting officers. South Africa with a phone. At this stage, I would stay in a mobile home, turning 50. Well, Marissa, I've never been a fan of owning homes. It's just an anchor around your neck. I mean, I have a massive mortgage I have to pay for this middle class home. in a modest neighborhood, and it's an anchor. If I didn't have that anchor, well, I could just travel the world and do what I wanted to do. But I have this anchor around my neck that's a 30-year mortgage, and I've been paying on it for this year will be the 10th year. Which, by the way, is the longest I've ever stayed anywhere in my life. So I only ever bought a house twice, and I was a debt slave to a bank both times. In Iowa, I bought a house for 1/3 the price I paid for this in 1995, and then I bought this 2015, so 95, 2015. 20 years later, my house cost me 3 times what it cost me in 1995 for a house the same size. Same size. Yeah, that's how prices went up. And yeah, so my mortgage cost more than double what I paid in the 1990s. In real terms, it's not double because of inflation, but it's still more. My ancestors lived on Table Mountain. Can I claim it? Sure, Crystal. Claim whatever you like. Biggest developers commercial real estate property are Chinese. That may be true. The Irish deserve to be chased out of Ireland by the English. They took slaves from England. No, Keith. No. The Vikings took slaves from England, not the Irish. The English took slaves from Ireland. That's how my ancestors wound up knocking boots and created the offspring like Rihanna. Trump is Trump being made aware of statistics censorship? I have no idea. I don't have access to Trump. My grandparents' plot was expropriated by the previous government to create Davytown, though he was compensated. Yeah, exactly. Well, see, that's Ian Saunders. I've also talked about that. See, and that's another thing where I'm honest. When they talk about our land and restoration land, well, a lot of people had land taken from them. In the 1980s alone, 2.5 million black South Africans had their land taken from them, and they were relocated to Bantustans. But white landowners, particularly in Northwest Province, in the old Transvaal, had their land taken to create Bophuthatswana. They were compensated, and some were given land in KwaZulu-Natal, but that doesn't change the fact that where their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents were buried, where they defended their land against the Ndebele, when they fought alongside the Griqua and the Tswana to fight the Ndebele, to protect themselves. When they fought against the English, the land that was theirs for over a century or more was taken from them, and they were relocated. So that's the true story. The government was an equal opportunity expropriator illegitimately and immorally during the apartheid era, and to deny that is simply nonsense. Now, I'm also tell you the truth, and like Ian said, the ancestors or his grandparents were compensated, but being compensated for something that's yours, no. I only want land wherever there is parasitic nature would flourish. Yep. Gideon, stop reading News 24. Exactly. What's this about poor? What did Gideon say about the poor? Well, Gideon, there were a lot of people poor under apartheid, but it didn't carry over. It grew exponentially under the ANC. The number of black Africans living in poverty under the National Party was a fraction of what it is today. It's over 30 million black Africans out of 43 million black South Africans living in abject poverty. Why is that? Macroeconomic policies of the Communist Socialist Party of the ANC and theft of the economy are the reason for that. It's only the well-off and white politicians that won't have any jobs anymore who would want to stay. Those are the ones speaking down to black people, making black people hate us. I agree. For the most part. There are some genuine racists who aren't rich too. Arguing social media is like seeing a dog crap on the grass and then stepping in it. Exactly. That's good, Charmaine. They only want land. Okay. Rick Truter, Gideon, stop reading the news. Okay. Tried to work and save on one salary to start a business. Damn near impossible. We have no access to capital. Yeah, I know. I've talked to so many people who went to banks and were denied loans. They were credit worthy but denied loans because they're white. What kind of crap is that? What kind of bank does that? That's stupid. Yeah, there's only 2 options in this poll. Mickey says AfriForum is not assisting African refugees. They reposted Bang Mak Politik about refugee status on X. They scare their members into consider. Okay, can somebody tell me that someone from AfriForum has approached you and tried to scare you into not considering going to the U.S.? I'd like confirmation of that. It's not their job to assist you to go to the States. Why would they do that? Why would AfriForum assist people to go to America? That's contrary to their stated purpose of an Afrikaans community. Mickey, you can be unhappy with AfriForum, but I don't agree with your assessment. There's always one butthole taking over the conversation. Hey, Frida Summers, welcome you. 650 U.S. companies are employing about 400,000, mostly so-called disadvantaged. Are these jobs and companies possibly in jeopardy? Yes, they much are, Bush Ivanek. They're very much in jeopardy. But the bigger picture is not that. The bigger picture for the U.S. companies, the 600 U.S. companies, is that South Africa is their main headquarters for the continent of Africa. And they'll have to relocate if there's punitive action taken against them by the ANC government, which they would probably do because they're just that stupid. They're just that stupid. Look at all their rhetoric right now. They're too stupid to pay attention to what's actually going on. I have to say this, the 380 people here tonight, we're not getting endless questions about, can I take my pets? Can I do this? Can I do that? So thank you very much for that. We're just discussing the topics. And yeah, that's nice. Listen to Chris just harvest 12 beautiful tomatoes. You took 12 tomatoes. We're talking economics, politicians, 80% of the yachts and limousines. I have no idea who owns them. That's just a guess. Is Trump being made aware of, I have no idea. MMM, Triple M, 3M. Rich Boers think they will not be affected by U.S. pulling investment out of South Africa. $450 million is gone. South Africa is billions of rands poor within the next 6 months. Oh, it's more than that. It's more than that, Rodwolf. We buy $430 million worth of minerals. And the great Montasha says, if they don't give us the money, we won't give them the minerals. Well, you don't give us the minerals. We buy them. So not only have you lost the $500 million average annual donation to third parties in South Africa, you're also going to lose $430 million in mineral sales. That's $1 billion. That's 18 billion rand. Take that out of your economy, okay? Yeah, $1 billion. That's $1 billion out of a purportedly $380 to $400 billion annual economy. You think you're not going to feel that? Herman Volka, good morning to you. Hemet Sonshine. Whoops, where'd it go? Hemet Sonshine. It jumped ahead on me there. I need to find a better way to... There we go. If you haven't decided where you want to live, I recommend you start with van life. Cheap RV, living to know. My husband retired. We do van life. That's an option. I thought about buying an RV and moving all around the country, but it's just the price of fuel, and you know, I just never done it. Mobile home is cold. Yeah, stayed one US. Yeah, they're not nice. Charmaine, nastiness in the comments. Well, Charmaine, just block the people or ignore it. Okay. Zen, empathy is not going to us. Yes, in the beginning we might be a burden, but we're not handouts. We're raised. Don't read Legacy Media anymore. What's the problem here, folks? I mean, nobody's calling anybody names. They're having conversations. If your feelings are hurt because people are asking penetrating questions, I mean, there's nothing here that I've seen thus far at 12:22, which is 5 minutes in the past, anything I've seen where anybody's attacked anybody. If you're being a racist, if you're attacking people, if you're just demanding attention, that's one thing. But every time Gideon makes a point, it just gives me a chance to destroy it. So just ignore that, okay? The Afrikaners will be a boon to the USA, not a burden. What a ridiculous notion. Actually, Afrikaners will be a huge burden in the United States. It'll cost us billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. Eventually, there'll be potentially a positive input in the country, but there'll be a huge cost up front. Okay? Oh, yes, Warren DeSwart. The left is back. That's why they're not dead. The wokeism is not dead. They're all talking about DEI. Wokeism is dead. It's not dead. It's just severely wounded. And that's when an animal is most dangerous, when they're cornered and wounded. And that's what DEI and the left are right now. Yes, Oregon, is it Washington State, I think, and nationally, they try to put this reparations garbage back on the map. They're just racist. After performance throwing off Afrikaans refugees to wolves. I don't agree, Mickey. We disagree. Took land, but it was also handed over to the regime in 94. What blows my mind is the amazing rate that fancy houses are being built in the Eastern Cape and are all based on similar plans. What does this funding come from? I don't know. Only snobs with their money and properties don't know how the Afrikaner can work. Seeing how we argue here is sad. Well, exactly, South Africa. So you're all making my point here. You're making my point. This is exactly my point. This is what Afrikaners do. So if you don't like someone saying, then just don't address them. Just ignore them in their total. Okay? Just completely ignore them. And if they address you, just ignore them. Whatever 101, I came to engage in my age and knowledge this question. It seems there are some people that believe they're the only ones entitled to participate. What is that nonsense, whatever 101? Chris Ayler's canceled the subscription. Well, that's fine. Okay. Ron Jacobs. Joy Scott, how you doing there? I'm skipping through a bunch of comments here. Hey, Janet Joel. How you doing there in Eastern Cape? Etienne Mare. People forget to mention that all the American companies operating South Africa can potentially they can. Good morning, Chris. I had to start my own business because I couldn't find a job. Thought it's if I start a business and work hard, I'd be able to provide. Can't get business because of BE. Yeah, that's a very difficult step to go into the boat because the first off argument would be that, well, I mean, you can start a business. Why can't you get business? Well, part of it's because you can't get a contract with the government if you're not BE certified, and that's half the economy. So 50% of the economy are excluded from. So, but still, you should be able to draw from the other 50%. But the problem with that is that if you're a subcontractor or a supplier to a company with BE, all too often they demand that you be BE certified, even though you're not required to be. And that means you're cut out of that part of the economy. So that's probably a situation that has affected you, Brop Boat. I don't know your industry. Yeah, it's horrible. Another thing is for Gideon talking about, people make excuses they can't get loans. Yeah, well, there are no doubt some people that are failures that will blame their failure on other people in the system. There's no doubt about that. But you're sitting here being an apologist for a racist system claiming that it works, and that's horseshit. It doesn't work. And I can show you countless examples of people who built companies because they were forced out of work, they were denied promotions, they were denied an opportunity, they were let go, and they apply and they're told, well, we'll interview you, but we can't hire you because you're white. We just have to interview you for statistics. And they go ahead and found their own business and make it successful until the government encroaches on them. So there's so many countless cases of that. Can you imagine if Coke and KFC had to withdraw from South Africa? Where would they? There would no way to pay for a traffic stop. You can't import brandy or take brandy with you. No, you can't bring alcohol here. Just a modest amount, up to so much, just like any other country. I think there are definitely bad people. All political parties sell it off. Okay. Back to common sense was the best thing Trump said. Yep. Brahma Public doubles down his promises it will force the Western Cape to secede. Well, if Elon Musk gets in that, apparently he made a comment about Western Cape secession. Whew. Chris, don't worry. I will stay with your love. With you, love your channel, not Spain. Well, thank you, PJ. I'm not worried. Thank you. Gideon, I've met Indians who've been denied access to the marketplace too. Sold a small gas station in the country. Another small business in West Cape 2 years later. I still have not moved, not received the funds because waiting my touch office does not transfer the license. Well, that's messed up, Rainier. That's messed up. Your youngest son delivered newspapers and they deducted, what do you mean deducted BE? A fee? What do you mean deducted BE? I don't understand that. Can I get your view on how Ohio's a state? Well, every state's got crime, curiosity nugget. I mean, anyone tries to deny that's silly. I mean, everywhere in the world there are nasty people. Fortunately, places have legitimate justice systems, criminal justice to act as deterrents and police to act as deterrents. They kind of tamp that down. Ohio's a lovely country. It's beautiful. Ohio's amazing. I mean, I went to high school and college in Ohio. And I don't ever plan to live there again, but that's just happenstance. There's nothing for me there. My mother's passed on. The only relation I have left in Ohio is my sister, and she moved out of there and then came back recently. So, yeah, there's no appeal for me to go back to Ohio. I will stay where I am for the moment, but doesn't mean I'll be here forever. I don't like being a debt slave to the bank. But no matter where I go, I'm going to be a debt slave unless I fall into billions of dollars. Yeah, Ohio's wonderful. But, I mean, I'm not sure why you're asking. You don't get to pick where you go. Friends of ours had to close their gas station because they wouldn't give 51 cents to a black person for free. On the money he got. Yeah, well, that's not right. Gideon says he's never have and will never praise the abhorrent ANC. I didn't say he did, Gideon. Thank you for sharing that. I also won't go along with people who blame their own irresponsibility when they see failures in those kind of... Well, I agree with 100%, Gideon. People who narcotize themselves, who do drugs, who become alcoholics, who are irresponsible, don't save for the future. I'm all about individual responsibility too. I think that should be pretty evident about if you know me and you've been on my channel for a long time. You know I'm all about responsibility. If you impregnate someone, it's your responsibility. Whether you marry them or not, your responsibility. Yeah, I'm all about individual responsibility, so I agree with 100% there. We can't get loans because we don't have debt. All our assets are paid off and some paid cash. Charmaine, that's a problem. And so I realized that early in life that in order to get credit, you had to have debt. So my first ever credit card, came with a $300 limit. And that was when I was in university in the 1980s. And that credit card, I use it to build credit history. I didn't own a house, so I didn't have a mortgage to build history. But in America, you're also judged on your credit history by the length of credit. So I have a credit card I've had for 35 years. I'm not canceling it, even though I rarely use it, because that's longevity, and it keeps the average of my credit cards much longer. And then your utilities, if you don't pay your utilities on time, if you don't pay your phone bill, your gas bill, your electric bill, that hits, you get dinged for that. If you don't pay your mortgage, you get dinged for that. If you default, if you file bankruptcy. So I never do those things. What I do is I pay my bills. I just received in the mail on Friday my annual unconstitutional tax. This is a per capita tax. That's the back of the form, per capita tax. Notice to taxpayer. Taxpayer on the back. This is unconstitutional. This is a head tax. This is a tax per capita on every resident of the county. The county charges me $4.90. It sounds like a trivial amount, but it's a fundamental philosophical issue. $4.90 if I pay this tax by April 15th. Today I put a check in the mail to cover my $4.90. I receive this tax because I'm a resident of this county. The fact that I exist and I'm an adult, I have to pay this tax. If I were married, I'd have to pay on a spouse. If I have children, I have to pay on the children. And this goes to every person in this county. Every single person in this county must pay $4.90. And if you don't pay it, then there's a later fee. Then the third one. Then after that, you get hit with a fine. A few years ago, I was serving in the Army, and I received a collection notice from a collection agency threatening my credit history and repossessing my home. Yeah. I pay all my bills on time, early, usually, before they're due, well before they're due, and I'm a responsible person. But I received a collection notice. I was serving the Army at the Army War College. Now, in the U.S. military, you remain a resident for legal purposes of the state where you entered the military, your home of record, HOR. My home of record was Ohio. So I paid income tax in Ohio, taken out of my paycheck every month, goes to the state of Ohio. And I voted in Ohio, even though I didn't physically live there, because that's where technically the Army considered to be from. And that's the law. Since 1941, the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Act has ensured that we are not taxed in other states, and we can't vote in other states. Now, we can get driver's license, we can register a car, we can register to vote in other states, but then we can't vote in our home state. Anyway, long story short, as a resident of Ohio, the state of Pennsylvania cannot charge me a head tax. It's illegal. I'm not a resident here. But here's the legal status I was in. Because I bought a house here, my name is registered as a homeowner here, and therefore the county has me on the records as a taxpayer for the local taxes, which I do pay, because I have to pay those because I bought the house here. And they charge me this illegal resident tax, head tax. So I do nothing about it. I don't pay that. Whoever heard of such an unconstitutional piece of nonsense? That's how we kept black people from voting in the South back in Jim Crow days. You put a tax on per head, and they couldn't afford the tax, and they couldn't vote because there were arrears on the taxes. So I don't know how this state gets away with it. Anyway, so I got this letter and I called him. I said, "What is this?" "Well, you didn't pay it." "I didn't pay what?" "You didn't pay your bill." I said, "Well, this bill says it's for $5. "Yeah." "Well, you didn't pay it. So we're going to have a collection agency, repossess your home." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm not even a resident of the state." "What do you mean you're not a resident of the state?" I said, "I'm in the Army on active duty." "Oh, you're in the Army. Oh, you're assigned here." "Yeah." "Well, you're right. You don't have to pay the tax." I said, "Well, then stop this." "Well, we can't." "What do you mean you can't?" "Well, we need evidence that you're in the Army." "Okay, how do I give that?" "Do you have your orders?" "I have my orders." I had to send my orders and stop a collection action against me when I had an over 800 credit score. By the way, 850 is the max, in case you're curious. That's an incredible credit score. And I have threatened to take my home away because of $5 that this state charged me. They had no authority to do it. So, states are oppressive. And governments are oppressive. They're supposed to meet our mutual needs, not harass us. So that's what happened to me. It's always a constant battle. Christopher Morkel says, "Got to hand it, Christopher, unaware of commitment to the truth. I've noticed how quick he is to dismiss rubbish from both sides of this debate." Thank you, Christopher. I am. Oh, look, I'm not going to let the left or the right, racists on either side, and political scumbags on either side, and trolls on either side mislead you. Now, if I get something wrong, I will admit it. I will correct. But that's pretty rare. I'm not boasting. It's pretty rare. If I get something wrong, I'll admit it. But look, people have to understand that I spent 3 decades as an intelligence analyst, as an intelligence officer. And trust me, the government doesn't train you well to do that. The CIA might train people well, but the Army didn't train me well. I got some basic knowledge and I had to go out and figure it out on my own. But I have an inquisitive mind and I read endlessly and I question everything. And I look at motivation and I look at branches and sequels and possibilities and how things go this way and go that way and go this way and where they come back. And that's how I look at everything. Whether it's analyzing HIV or it's analyzing Ebola, it's analyzing trade, it's analyzing energy, it's analyzing everything. That's how I approach the world. Does that make it right? No, but that's my process, and it's worked very well for the past 4 decades. And so when people try to come here with their nonsense, I can just destroy it pretty quickly. Like the thing on the crowd thing. And some of you made very good points about the crowd. This nonsense about being in the hundreds, that's just a lie. That's a lie. That's dishonesty. See, what happens there is that you get people that probably show up, and there's a few hundred people there. Like I saw a video from smart-ass racist black guy driving by on Pretoria Street. Now, mind you, Pretoria Street was shut down. So if there were people there driving by Pretoria Street, it was either before the crowd got there, unlikely because the street was shut down early, or was after the street had been opened up and there were still people hanging around the fence. And they're going by, I couldn't identify which language it was. I think it was actually, it wasn't Swana. I think it was Zulu. Driving by on Pretorius going east past the embassy. Oh, look at these white people. Almost none of them here. Look at them whining. Okay. And then people are saying there's a couple hundred people there. That's dishonest. That's like taking a photograph of a stadium when nobody shows up. And that's why I was very cautious when it was rallies. The DA rally Chris, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank now. The mayor of Howick. So the mayor of Howick spoke at the DA rally in KZN in Durban. I was very careful to get good view of that, make sure I had images when it was actually going down. Gate McKenzie's Patriotic Alliance, I made sure I get good pictures of that. Same with the EFF rallies and the ANC rallies, because people will selectively pick pictures. I've seen it for years with Trump. Oh, look, nobody's there. Yeah, that was at 6 o'clock in the morning. There's nobody there. Yeah, that's after the rally was over. Silly. Hezbollah, Chris, any obvious negatives we need to consider about jumping on the refugee? Yeah, okay, Hezbollah. I'll give you a couple. Just a second. Good question there. All right, so let me go with that, Hezbollah. Okay, 12:34. That was about 7 minutes ago. Okay, so here's some obvious ones. Number one, you're going to be abused by well-off white South Africans who live in a delusional world that there's no racism and bigotry directed against minorities. You're going to be abused by other people. So I would keep your decision, your actions to yourself and not share them with anybody if you want to do this. Again, I'm not encouraging you to do it. I'm just giving you good advice. If you are going to apply for a refugee program, if and when it's made available, I wouldn't tell anybody anything. My bank, my family, nobody. I wouldn't tell anybody anything. Keep it to yourself. That's your best bet. Second thing, where'd it go? Other negatives. So that's a negative. Another negative is that you're limited on what you can take out of the country. These are currency restrictions the ANC's put in place years ago, understandably, and I don't blame them. I mean, people were fleeing the country and going to New Zealand, UK, and taking all their money out and draining the economy. So they put measures in to limit it. And I'm not an expert on this, so you can correct me if it's wrong. But people in here who know better have said that you can take like R1 million per year out of the country. After that, you can take more, but then SARS and the South African Reserve Bank are going to take a big chunk of it, and you may not be able to take it. So that's not much money. So keep that in mind. Will you be able to continue to own your property in South Africa? I would imagine you could, but what's to stop people from expropriating your pension funds with the law the way it is now, or your bank accounts or whatever? So that's an obvious drawback. Can you bring your pets? Probably. Can you bring firearms? No, most likely. Can you bring your livestock? No. So other negatives, you are going to relocate and come to a country, and you're going to be buffeted by change. First off, you people drive on the wrong side of the road. So Hezbollah, you're going to have to learn how to drive on the correct side of the road. That's not a major issue, but you need to be cognizant of that. My recommendation is ride around with people in cars for a while before you try to get in a car and drive, unless you have that experience. That's not a train smash. That's just something you have to be cognizant of. You're going to come here with 0 credit rating, no rating. So you start at the bottom. You start like an 18-year-old just entering the workforce. You have no credit history. You are not going to be able to get loans to buy big things. Always people talk, I'm going to buy a house. Well, you're going to buy jack shit. Not unless you're a multimillionaire and you're able to get your money in the Channel Islands or the Canary Islands or something like that, or, in Grand Cayman. That's where your money sits. Then you can buy what you want. But most people are going to come here with almost nothing. And you're going to live off a stipend and go find work. And you're probably going to start at the bottom unless you have skills. It's still going to take time, 3, 6, 9 months to get those skills transferred and get accepted. But there's work. There's tons of work here. Everywhere you go, there's work. Nobody's suffering from lack of work. We're overpaying people. That's one of the reasons why inflation's been so high, because people got too lazy, don't want to work here. So you'll find work and you'll be valued. Unfortunately, recently, if you were white, you would be discriminated against across the board in most of the banking industry, in the real estate industry, all over the place. But that is now changing, going back to where everybody's the same, which is the way it's supposed to be. But the obvious disadvantages are no credit history. You're going to come here with very little money. You're going to be buffeted by a new environment. But that said, this is the greatest country in the world in the history of mankind, bar none. I don't want to hear about how happy people are in Finland. The country's dying. 4 million people. There'll only be 4 million people there by the year 2100. Wonderful country, but it's not the greatest country in the world. It's isolated. Lots of suicide, alcoholism because of the isolation up there. But supposedly they're the happiest country in the world. I love Finland, so don't take that the wrong way. Switzerland is lovely, but it's not the best country in the world. The best country in the world is where you live, where you're comfortable, where you can worship in freedom and speak your mind and make a living and raise your family in peace and quiet. That's the greatest country in the world. For some people, that's South Africa. Not many, but for some people, that's Switzerland. Some people, it's Bavaria. Other people, it's Canada. Many people, it's America. This is an amazing country, and you're not restricted here. You can live anywhere you want. There's no restrictions. You can move around the country. You can travel all over the country, but it is huge, and that's another factor. You're going to come to America, and people are going to say, "Come visit us." Okay, cool. Where do you live? In Tennessee. Oh, well, I'm in Florida. Well, that's not a 2-minute drive. Yeah, so that's some of the obvious ones there, Hezbollah. I mean, there are plenty of others. Your kids are going to have to adapt to school, but the good news is the younger your kids are, the easier it's going to be. If your kids are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, they're going to come in school, and they're going to just adjust like that. If they're 15, 16, it might be a little bit harder, but they'll be fine. I can go back, medical, repping, and nursing, but all of those are going to change. No, that's not true, Janet. What do you mean he's going to shake up the industry? How? That statement makes no sense whatsoever. That makes no sense whatsoever. You can go to nursing. Nursing isn't going to change. And I can go online now and look for jobs, and I guarantee you we'll find tons of nursing jobs available. They're always available. At the height of unemployment in 1981, 82, when I was in high school graduating and about to go off to go to university, unemployment in my county was 26%, which is unheard of. But it was a rural Appalachian county in southeastern Ohio. But I would go in the newspaper and look for jobs, and the only jobs I saw every week in every paper, there were jobs they couldn't fill. Licensed practical nurse, registered nurse, all these nursing jobs, and that continues today. We never have enough nurses. Nurses here are given responsibility, they're given authority, and they're getting paid well. So there's nursing, and it doesn't matter what RFK does. The need for nursing is great. So great that we rape Africa of its qualified nurses. We're not alone. New Zealand, Australia, Canada, UK, Ireland, all fleece Africa for qualified nurses. All right, South Africa, take care. Couldn't find a job, so became a yoga instructor. Interesting. Have my own bookkeeping taxation firm. Also feels similar. Will be challenging to start a new business again, but at least we'll have more opportunities and chances. Okay. Flash Gordon. Flash, savior of the universe. I like Flash Gordon. Says I'm a legend. Yes, a legend. That's what you're supposed to say, man. And if stupid like me, you fight multinational corporation. Okay. I want to go to work for Elon Musk at SpaceX. Well, Albert, I'm sure they've got hiring there. I want to be a law-abiding citizen, not skipping robots at night because I'm afraid of getting attacked. Well, I hear you, Roxy. Been there, done that. Hang on. M says, got COVID, then long COVID, then bedridden, then cancer. My goodness, M. I'm sorry. It sounds like you've had a long road to hoe here. I hope that you're recovering now. If you have a good life in South Africa, then stay. If not, due to your race, you have a chance of a lifetime. You don't have to make it complicated. My children don't have a chance in this country. Carol, 100%. You made the obvious statement right there. If life is so good in South Africa and you're not discriminated against, then stay. This isn't even a conversation for you. If you feel you're being discriminated against, you want another opportunity, yeah, it's a golden ticket, man. Willy Wonka is just giving you the golden ticket. Just remember, when you get to the chocolate factory, don't overeat. You'll be flushed. The old days, we worked hard. We were waiters, proteges, young. We wanted to start earlier. Generation opportunity. Yep. Play 24. Tristan Klein. PE examination. God, I got something in my eye here. Sorry, it's in my eyebrow or my eyelash. Drive me nuts now there. I think people were seeing the $150,000 refugee limit on the web, and now they're trying to discourage other people. Okay, well, there's no $150,000 limit, or $150,000 limit, Hotful. So first off, that's rubbish. And I found that today. Somebody sent me something. They retweeted something to me from someone who is a South African, a black South African, who is trying to tell people a bunch of nonsense. What they're doing is they're taking information that's available publicly, and they're claiming that that's the situation. We don't know what the situation is. First off, the 150,000 refugee limit doesn't apply. That's a law that's put in place, a law that's repeatedly violated. The U.S. takes in anywhere from 30 to 150,000 refugees in a given year. However, we've exceeded that in numerous years. From Afghanistan, we had over 160,000 in like 3 weeks. So that 150,000 means nothing. I'm so sick of these people and their nonsense. So Hutful bikers, tell people to stop that. That doesn't apply here. It doesn't apply here. It might not. We don't know. Gideon says he hates the credit score system because it creates a market for debt collectors. These debt collectors have a fiduciary responsibility to get as many people in debt as possible. When you say debt collectors, I'm not really sure. See, the language, Gideon, is important, Gideon Schomburg. So debt collector here to me is someone that goes after your assets and repossess. That's a debt collector. If you're talking about organizations that lend money, like banks and credit unions and things like that, then we're talking about two different things. If your argument is that banks have an obligation or a responsibility to get people in debt, well, yeah, it's a business model. They make money by loaning money. They loan you money because they have it. You use it, you pay it back, and they make money off the interest. That's fine. That's usury. That's allowed. There's nothing wrong with that. So their job isn't to get as many people in debt as possible. It's to make as much money as possible for their shareholders. And that can be done through a variety of ways. It can be done through acquisitions of other banks. It can be done through streamlining, reducing costs. It can be done through fees and services. And it can also be done by loaning more money. There's a number of ways that banks make money. I know this because I own shares in banks, including JP Morgan, which I've owned since it was Bank One back in the day. So Gideon, I appreciate your hatred for the credit score, but banks and those who loan you something have to have a way of judging whether you're a credit risk worth having. I mean, you can't just give money to people because they want it. They got to be worthwhile credit risk. Sorry, I'm trying to see what that is. Oh, that's my cap. This back here was disturbing me. It's my Stormer's cap. I was going to wear that, but they lost. So I was going to wear it so that I still care. So the credit system is there because you have to have a way of evaluating. I mean, you can't just rock. That's why capital is so important, Gideon. That's why the title deeds for property are so important. The RDP houses holding that money back, it's dead capital. No one can go to a bank and say, hey, look, I want to borrow money for a tuck shop. Okay. What's your business plan? Okay. That seems sound. Okay. Your business plan. Let's discuss this further. What assets do you have to pledge against it so that if you don't pay back the loan, we'll recover our money? Well, I don't own anything. Sorry, we can't loan you anything. Yep. At least with a credit score, you can see a history of paying off loans. You can see income. You can see whether somebody has the ability to do it. That's why when you buy a home, the standard is not more than 35% of your income should be spent on housing. Dad got a law degree as a clerk. He had to file a suit against an old lady for like $25,000. He quit his profession right there and went back to farming. Yep. Well, it's not something I'd want to be involved in. I understand why he did it. Okay. So the limit time $50,000. Where do you see that? It's in the law. It's in the law. That's the standard norm is up to 150,000 refugees. But I wouldn't worry about that. We don't know. If you choose to go, you're stuck for 5 years. If you go back to stuff, you won't be able to go back to U.S. bridge burn. That's a pretty true statement. Helmet Sunshine says SpaceX can only hire Americans because it no, that's not true. Not true. Not true. Not true, Hammett. I don't know where you get that from. SpaceX can hire anybody they want to. SpaceX has work done overseas, not just in South Africa. But you can't work on projects that require security clearance unless you're an American citizen with a security clearance. So that statement's not true. That's an assumption. Simply not true. Not true. What would be the acceptable monthly income to sustain the average South African middle class? I can't tell you that, Willem. There's no acceptable monthly income. It depends where you live. We've had this conversation repeatedly on this channel. It depends where you live. If you live in Manhattan, you're going to need a ton of money. If you live in a metropolitan area, you need a ton of money. You live in a rural area, you're not going to need that much. You live in a high tax state, you're going to need a lot of money, even if you live in a rural area. Australia makes immigration south there very hard unless you're super rich. Exactly. Damn, you guys need to seriously adjust yourselves realistic expectation regarding U.S. initiatives. Some hectic assumptions here. Yes, a lot of assumptions that are being thrown in the conversation here that are no basis in fact. M says, the creep the U.S. Embassy says he's received no inquiries. I'm not sure what you're talking about. There was when Willem Petz was there, somebody said he hadn't gotten any inquiries. Well, that's dishonest. I don't know why that person would say that. They're probably just being stupid. People slept at the embassy. I don't know about that. I'm trying to find the tweet from AfriForeign spokesman who shared around his spokesperson. Yes, Solomon, that's correct. It takes about 5 years to become a citizen through the refugee program. It takes 7 to 10 years for the average person. So see how you get a good break there? My children deserve a better life. Hit the like button. A lot of black people in Johannesburg speak. Yes, they do, Vilma. That's true. I'm not. See, Wilma, I can see you tonight. I'm not scared to move to the U.S. It will at least give me an opportunity to get employed. Are you refugees behaving? Will there be someone that could teach us how the tax system works? Well, no one teaches us. No one taught me how to do taxes, and I was still expected to pay my taxes at 18. Still had to do it. The good news is that almost no income, no family, no dependents. You can do an easy form. It's easy to do, and then you start learning how to do it. I don't know. I'm sure they will, but there's always services available. Local communities, local libraries offer stuff to help you fill out taxes. Taxes are unbelievably complicated, and I've got a whole stack of papers over here to prove it. I'm not exactly a wealthy man, and I spend dozens of hours doing my taxes every year. It's all right. It's not a group exercise. Do what's best for you. Stay, go, do what you want. In South Africa, it appears that you pay taxes and municipal valuation of your house for local taxes. My house tripled in value in 5 years, tripled. Well, in America, you pay taxes based on the municipal valuation of your house too. But here in Pennsylvania, they can increase taxes every year without your authority. In Ohio, if you want to raise taxes, you have to go to the voters and get a measure passed, and then they agree to raise the tax rate or not raise it. And so in that case, they like to reevaluate your home, and then they get more money because the value is more based on what they claim. But here, they don't bother reassessing the value because they just keep raising the taxes. What about your debt in South Africa? What about it, Jean? Not my problem, not your problem. But if you leave a bunch of debt in South Africa and you go back, you better be prepared to be arrested. Yeah. JS says, thinking take $10 million out per year. Well, you can think that, JS, but several people have commented you can take $1 million per year. Yep. Just buy precious metals. Easy to carry. Yeah, but you can't import precious metals to America. International drivers from AAA, it's easy. You don't need an international driver's license. You'll have to get a local driver's license. Your international driver's license isn't valid if you're resident here. You can't use an international driver's license in a country where you're resident. If you come here as a refugee, you're now a resident in the United States. International driver's license is invalid. Doesn't work. Not valid. And it's tied to your national license. So if you come here from South Africa and you're a resident here, whatever your status, your license is not valid anymore. You've got so many days depending on the state. Some states it's 30 days, some states it's 60 days, some states it's 90 days. But every state requires you within a few months to get a license in the state you're in. Simple as that. You cannot drive on your national license here. You will be arrested for driving without a license. We're fortunate to have the attention of a reasonable worldwide audience given that some countries have far worse problems. Thank you for your membership. Is it Kids45? Home affairs workers are hot full. People are still lining up to ask for refugee applications. They don't send them away. They let them stay there for hours for nothing. Well, are you laughing? You think that's funny? I think that's miserable. But they do that all the time. Trust me, I've dealt with home affairs. Yeah, in their effort to try to declare me undesirable. Lying bastards. We sorted that out. Mom spoke Zulu and could understand them, okay? Yes, you start with prepaid credit cards and insanely high interest rates on cards and cars. Flash will flip burgers. Okay. Well, hey, flipping burgers gets you $20 an hour locally. McDonald's right down the street, $20 an hour. Grass is greener where you water it. Yep. That's a $90 flight. What's a $90 flight? USA rocks my world. Love it. Okay. Solomon, I moved his years ago. Skilled migrant was hard, very hard. Provides a network of help. Okay. On the H-2A program for 8 years, built up credit score in the U.S., how will that affect me if I apply refugee? It won't affect you. Jacques van de Westhuizen, it won't affect you. It shouldn't affect you if you're in South Africa. But if you're in America, you can't apply for refugee status. It's illegal. Can't do it. And I don't see this executive order having a program that changes that. I do see it potentially exceeding the cap of 150,000 people, but it's probably not going to exceed it won't allow for people being in the country. It just doesn't do that. South Africa is best for me. I'm free, thriving, happy here. Well, good, Shitty, and it sounds like you are. It's awesome. Mind sharing what part of the country you live in? You should stay there, and I hope you stay there. I didn't ask you to come here, and I'm not encouraging you or anyone else to come here. I'm also not discouraging. This is a honest platform. Vilma speaks a bit of Tswana. What happens to your debt in South Africa when you go to USA? I just answered that question, Jean Kutsia. It's not our problem. It's not your problem. When you are scared of the greener grass, you should check if you still have balls. Chris sent you the evidence of okay, maybe I'm blind with rage, but it could have been more vocal for us. Mickey, just take a deep breath and don't be angry at Off Reform and Solidarity. They have a constituency and they're responsible to them. Our culture is very strict regarding aspects like morals, good manners, helping always, and working super hard. Go and look at the 14. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much for that. About time somebody mentioned that. Why do people not go watch my video? I guess it's getting a while back there now, but here it is. Shareable link. Okay, so this is, you need to go watch the 14 questions. I did that. The embassy hasn't done this. The American government hasn't done this. Nobody I'm aware of has done this. A lot of people trying to glom on, and grifters and charlatans trying to get your attention and your money. I'm not asking for anything, but there are the 14 questions. I address them. I think it's a very good video. I'm biased. I made it. But most people think it's a good video. Australia and New Zealand refugee programs are just virtue signaling. Exactly. They all want the best and most qualified. Same with Canada. Canada's refugee program, same thing. You can qualify for refugee status in Canada if you're a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, a surgeon. Yeah, they'll take you. A nurse, they give you a front of line. They don't care whether you're Indian or Sikh or Pakistani or Tanzanian. They don't care. But if you're the poor, the unwashed, the unclean, just people who are desperate, they don't want you and they won't take you. But despite that, The Economist said Canada has a good immigration program compared to America. We let the poor, the unclean, the dirty, the filthy, the crippled, the disabled come in our country, and we're treated like shit by the world, by the likes of The Economist saying lies about us. But they prop up Canada, which is just a country that only wants talented people. Yep. Can I move my money in cryptocurrency, move it over in that way? Well, Chantel Pretorius, you want to take a risk, put your money in cryptocurrency, that's your business. Cryptocurrency, the nice thing about it, it's not regulated by a central government or a reserve bank, and therefore you can convert it anywhere you are in the world. Again, I am telling people, as I did in my video last night, do not sell your property. Do not. I had somebody in Europe telling me I'm selling my property to come to the refugee program. First off, you don't qualify. I can tell you that. You're not. If you think you're going to become a refugee in America and you live in Ireland, it ain't going to happen. So if you have property in South Africa, you're going to sell it to raise money so you can have money in the States coming from Ireland, you're crazy. Now, I'm not attacking that person, but that isn't going to happen. Stop doing these things. A gentleman said he's going to go get a tattoo U.S. flag. Why? It's permanent. Well, because I'm coming to America. Well, you don't know you're coming to America. You might. And thank you for your enthusiasm for America, but you don't see me with a South African flag on here. I go to South Africa all the time. Just calm down. Take a deep breath, folks. Chill. Really, it's crazy. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, to answer Chantel's question, if this program does become available, and if you qualify for it, and if you are able to take advantage of it, and if you wait till the program's announced, and then you try to sell your property, you'll probably have a hard time selling it, to be fair. And if you try to move your money, it'll probably be hard to do. That's all true. But you know what? If you want to roll the dice, that's on you. I recommend people don't roll the dice. People will change their mind too, and then they'll have no recourse. They'll be destitute. No, we don't know. Program hasn't been released. Okay. Latest news. Minister of Finance looking at increase our tax salary against the budget speech. Yeah, I got a bunch of news here. I didn't get around to it. I think there's a good chance that POTUS will actually get Willem's manifesto and comment. No copy. I don't think there's any chance he'll see it. Why? Do you think that Donald Trump is going... Okay. Hang on a second. All right. Let me show you this, folks. Okay. If you think that Donald Trump, the man that leads the world, is going to have the time to sit down and read this document... Okay, then I'm sorry, you're not really paying attention. Okay, this is his document. You ready? Page 1. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You think Donald Trump is going to read this? 20 pages. 24 pages. 26 pages long. And it comes from a private citizen. This isn't from a civic group. This isn't from a lobbying group. This isn't from a politically connected group. It isn't from anybody that has any mojo or moose. That doesn't mean he's not going to read it, but the odds of him reading are tiny, copy. That's what is going to happen. Like I said, it will be forwarded to the Secretary of State. Some staffer will look at it. They'll pull a few bullet points out, brief the Secretary, and then he'll talk to the President, and or that document will get to Chief of Staff of the White House. Maybe. President Trump is not going to read that document. And don't go, Chris, he read it. See, he held it up. We saw it on camera. He was in front of the plane. He said, I have here the document. It doesn't mean he read it. If he does do that, I'm just saying. I'm telling you now. Peter O, I wonder when the U.S. Embassy will explain the process. Well, don't we all, brother? Don't we all? Yep. I know that the people here are using this as a scare tactic to get people to stay. I know Hot Full Bikers, and that's why people need to come to this channel. You need to tell people about this channel. Honestly, and not just trying to get attention. I'm just trying to be honest with people. I'm not killing myself here. I'm not being remunerated well for this. We got 0 super chats in the stream. Obviously, it's not about that, is it? And I'm here now for already 2 hours at 1 o'clock in the morning to help people get the facts. Those indebted to banks here can still get asylum. No, you can't, Bushy. You can't. You can't. This isn't an asylum program, Bushy. Stop using the wrong language. I'm not going to. If people take offense at my spanking you, I'm going to spank you. This is not an asylum program. You cannot apply for asylum unless you're in the United States. Done and dusted, case closed, finished and clear. This is a refugee program. I think you meant to say refugee, Bushy. Don't say asylum, because then they twist it and they mislead. They put lawyers on SABC. Well, these Afrikaners can't go to America because it takes months to get asylum. I don't know what they're thinking. This is an asylum. That's what they'll do. Just like the 150,000 cap. So are white English people also able to go as well? Because kids 45 answered 1,000 times. Please watch the video with 14 questions, frequently asked questions. At the moment, it's undefined. Just relax and wait and see. Yeah, the ANC wants to borrow another $27 billion. Gideon, I'm predicting refugee-themed scams. Well, Gideon, that's smart of you, impression. And if you go back to my video on the 7th of February, within a couple hours of Trump announcing this, go to it and notice what I said. In the first half hour, I talked about people being scammed. In the first 10 minutes, I talked about people being targeted as a consequence of this. And keep your head low. You're right. There are. And I just made a video last night. It's funny how I make these predictions. I tell people these things, and then suddenly they appear in the media. Suddenly people start talking about them. I'm the only one. Well, okay. People are like, you're not the only one. We heard someone else say, okay. But generally speaking, nobody was telling you that this is about Iran. They weren't telling you it was about Israel. They were just claiming it's all about white people. And first of all, it doesn't say anything about white people. So I said that was untrue. And I focused at the very beginning. It's that, plus the major issue here is the insults to America. And I've done video after video after video. And unfortunately, my last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 6 videos, none of them have gone beyond 20,000. So it looks like YouTube is shadow banning me again. Yep, none of them have gone beyond 20,000. The one before that was 70,000 views. So whatever, I'll keep doing it. People don't want to watch the videos. Yep. And what is my video yesterday? Charlatans beware. So here's the one I did yesterday. Charlatans and hucksters. Good evening, folks. It's late in the evening on the 15th of February, 2025. This is Chris from Central Pennsylvania reporting on the situation in South Africa. First off, there's no change. Please stop listening to charlatans who create Twitter accounts that have no followers and suddenly they're the Boer's best friend. Save the Boer. They know everything about South Africa. They don't know anything about South Africa. They know what they're talking about. They're Johnny-come-latelys who are copying and posting things and pretending to be experts, and people are gullible and hoodwinking themselves into believing it. Please take a moment and use good judgment. There are people trying to grift and make money off of this. Absolutely. Pay attention to what you're doing. First off, anybody approaches you as a lawyer or an advocate and offers to provide you services to immigrate to America is a fraud. Yeah, that's right. They're a fraud because there is no immigration to America other than what was already existing before Donald Trump's executive order on the 7th of February, 2025, a week ago. The program is U.S. Refugee Resettlement Program, which was suspended by the president on the 20th of January for all aspiring refugees around the world. No one could come because the widespread fraud and abuse of the program by the Biden regime. On the 7th of February, President Trump directed the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security to prioritize. Anyway, so that was my video last night. It goes into talking about scams and charlatans because it's happening out there. Gray Man just gave us a super chat. Thank you for that. I'm a little bit behind the chat. I'm trying to catch up. Play24 says, large South African expat community. It's easy to get money out, but it's going to get a lot harder. It definitely will be. Hey, Tractor Champ. M says, Grok advised that Trump stop refugee status to the guys jumping your border, but open it to minority. Actually, no, those people don't get refugee status. Those people don't get refugee status. You can't jump the border and claim refugee status. You can't claim refugee status inside the United States. So if AI told you that, it's a lie. Refugee status doesn't apply to people who are in America. Asylum does. These people are claiming asylum, and that's different. Trump ended the refugee program because of the abuse by bringing 160,000 Afghans who weren't vetted into this country in a matter of 3 weeks by the Biden administration. That's why. So AI is wrong. That's factually wrong. Too many people not to respond to themselves. Exactly. Sorry to have to go to work. Hey, Rainier, enjoy your day at work. Be safe. Bruce says we'll clean toilets. Okay. Well, we need somebody to clean our toilets at Veterans Office here, Veterans Organization. Okay. Marissa's ready to grab the opportunity. I'm not married and have no kids, so a single person should be an easy process. Exactly, Flash. Very easy. Elon Musk said that he could not hire non-American SpaceX. That's not true. He's misleading people. If he said that, he misled you. He can hire people that aren't. That's not true. We have people that work for defense contractors all the time that have people who aren't Americans who work for them. It's simply not true. I don't know where Elon Musk got that idea from. He can't hire them working classified programs. That's true. But a company like SpaceX is large. They have toilet cleaners. They have administrative people. They have people that are doing finance. They have people that are doing property acquisition. Those people don't have to have big clearance. They don't have to be Americans. Governor Health. What is Governor Health? I have no idea what you're saying there, Bones. Welcome, cool. So many poor whites depend on government for chronic meds. In USA, you have to pay. Sneaking into Canada for free health care will be tough. Yeah, it's impossible because you're not a Canadian. But lots of people get free health care in America, and I have to pay for it out of my pocket. It's called Medicare and Medicaid. Yep. Do you think husband and wife will be able to register as family? Well, they should, Roxy, but I can't tell you till we know what the program says. Raising valuation on our homes to collect taxes. Yeah, well, they do that in a lot of places. Can't see why your visa status would affect your credit score. You're still the same person. I'm not sure what Solomon's answering there. You have to declare anything you bring with you, and if it exceeds a certain amount, you're going to have to pay heavy duty on it, and you'll also be limited. You can only bring so much in no matter what, even if you pay duty. Colonel, do you think we'll be welcomed by other Americans? Of course you'll be welcome. Most people won't even know where the hell you're from. You just have a funny accent. How do you start building a credit score in USA? It's very difficult to... Arctic has a very good point. You'll get a prepaid credit card from Walmart, and it has money on it, and you register with an address with your name, but you have to have a Social Security number. So once you get a Social Security number, after you're here, then you go get a prepaid credit card, and then you register that account, and you use that, and you put money on it as needed. And then once you have a place, if you're paying for the utilities, then you have a record there. And within short order, you can build credit history. Best states for firearm enthusiasts. Well, not New Jersey, not Maryland, but not Illinois, but most of the country. Depends what you want to do. I mean, firearms enthusiasts. You want to go hunting? Wyoming's great. You want to go hunting? Pennsylvania's great, you know. There's 1 million I checked yesterday. Otherwise, exactly. That's what I said, Kerry McDougal, for the money. 1 million rand. I think it's more about age. Taking kids at 5 and 10 is technically better than one person at age 50. Chris previously said refugee is for everyone of all ages. It is. But integration is more difficult for somebody who's set in their ways. Once your brain is established. Hope you're doing well. What do you think of Kash Patel? I think he's brilliant. He's a brilliant American. Fantastic. Oh, by the way, they're only attacking him because he's Indian. He's a person of color, and they're racist. If you leave the department and don't pay because you go to USA as a refugee, can they put it against my credit score in USA? I don't think so. I'm not aware of that applies to your credit history here. I don't know. I don't know that answer. I know that if you're in the UK, that can affect your credit history because our banking system is very similar and they're linked. And I discovered that because in 1992, when I was in London, my subscription for The Economist was lapsing, and I wanted to pay for it. So I went to The Economist headquarters in London, small little building, and just to say I went there because I cherish The Economist so much. Now it's just a propaganda rag, but back then I really loved it. Thank you for the super chat, Roxy. I went there, and I went in and I said, can I pay for my subscription? It was like $100 a year back then, something like that. It was crazy. And they said, sure. And so I pulled my credit card, and I said, oh, we don't take credit cards. And I'm like, how can I pay? She said, well, do you have a check? I said, yeah, it's an American bank. Oh, we take American checks. I pulled out my checkbook. I wrote a check, filled it out, and paid with a check to renew my subscription for The Economist in London on an American bank in dollars. And it worked fine. Yep. Why wouldn't you be welcome, English speaking? Well, you have to qualify. That's the only thing that matters. I love the video you put out with the 14 most asked questions. I know, Teresa, I wish more people watch it. Please spread the word. Anybody that's telling you the 150,000 cap, anybody that's telling you about pets, anybody's telling you this, tell them to go to my channel, give them the link to that 14 frequently asked questions, which I did days ago, and you're going to get the best information available. That's something the American Embassy should have put out, but they're not doing it, and shame on them. Worked in 6 countries. I easily integrated everywhere I went, avoiding other South Africans, working hard, adopted local rules, eating fun. Well, Alexander, I've lived in 16 countries, and I've adapted very fine everywhere. I'm a traditional chief in Liberia, among other things. When I get settled, I'll pop over for coffee. I'll bring biltong. Okay, Sapphirs are getting a bad rap for drug smuggling in some parts of the world. Well, yeah, because South Africans smuggle drugs in parts of the world, like Thailand. Top 3 favorite books. Oh, that's not a question I want to answer this hour. I've answered it many times. It changes over time. No book has ever stuck with me as one of my favorite books throughout my life. Travis Stain says, good morning. Critical review. People did sleep next to the embassy before Saturday's rally. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, the South Africans send you an angry letter to your last known address. Vilma doesn't like tattoos. Your body isn't a canvas. I agree. I agree. Why mess with something that your creator came up with. My plan is to probably leave my stuff with someone here and get it later. Good luck with that, Charles. Jackie, about property. What if you were working remotely in the U.S., living in South Africa? Well, Jackie, if the members of the South African Parliament and the ANC and the DA keep up their bullshit attacking America, you're going to find your job potentially in jeopardy. Yep, I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm telling you that what's going to happen here is that if sanctions come on South Africa, which is not beyond the realm of possibility, not tariffs, sanctions. The way South Africa is behaving, they're pushing America into a corner, and Trump will just strike back and reach out with sanctions against South Africa if they keep it up. And if they sanction South Africa, it will affect American businesses, and they may be prohibited from doing business in South Africa. If that happens, that's going to be devastating to South Africans, particularly a lot of white South Africans who couldn't get jobs in South Africa but get jobs with American companies. Yeah, that could be horrible. I hope that doesn't happen, but that's something that no one's talking about. I've mentioned it a few times, and I should make a video on that. That's pretty crazy. Gideon mistakenly thinks that the executive order served a purpose, chaos, and a tool for persuasion. Clever use of soft power. No, it is not working. It is not working at all, Gideon. It is not working at all. And the proof of the pudding is that the South African government is an arrogant asshats. Instead of being humble and not being fools and talking to America in a polite fashion, they continue to stoke the fires of nonsense. They have not backed off of their nuclear program support for Iran. They have not backed off of their International Criminal Court or Court of Justice against Israel. They have not stopped backing Russia, and instead they attack America and blame us for their failures. So it has not worked at all, Gideon. It has not worked at all. That is not, so you are very cynical and you're factually wrong that you think that this was meant to sow discord. The reason why Afrikaners, in my view, from a strategic purpose, were included in this is twofold. Number one, Trump is pissed off that people being discriminated against racially. That's number one. And number two, he wanted to send a message to the South African government that we're serious. If he just said, here's an executive order, we are going to stop aid because they are supporting Hamas and they are helping Iran, that wouldn't have done anything. But it hasn't accomplished anything as far as I'm concerned. The ANC is not getting the message. So it's going to be time for a GOA expulsion because you're not legitimate. I mean, there should be no question. Whatever South Africa did or didn't do before this executive order was issued, they never should have been a GOA. They're violating U.S. law that they acceded to. They agreed to abide by it. They violated, then hence you should be out. Emerenta said, watch it, help me a lot. You're very welcome. Please tell people about it. Share it everywhere. Emails, WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, wherever. Tell people to go watch it. Trump will get a summary. The Afrikaners get together, but no Bri. Okay. If I leave, I'm getting rid of everything, says Marissa. Excuse me. Good morning, Kud Muz to be. Louis Basson, welcome to you. I've always been interested in what sparked your love of South Africa. Even before this, you've been covering the news South Africa for a long. Yeah, for 5 years. And it's not just South Africa. Okay, I'll answer that question because people just don't know about me. It's a long story, but I read a book. Basically, I'll jump to that. I read a book in 1970s, late 70s called The Covenant by James Michener, who was at the time my favorite author, a historical fiction writer, a World War II veteran who made it big by writing a book called Hawaii, talking about the history of Hawaii. And that got him big. And so all his books sold out really well after that. They made one of them, Centennial, into a miniseries. I saw that on television as a kid in the 70s and was fascinated. And that's how I learned of the name James Michener. Once I knew who he was, I started reading his books. And he wrote a book called The Covenant, which is about Geloftedag and the history of South Africa. And so I read it. I was fascinated. So that started my interest specifically in South Africa. It grew from there to studying Afrikaans and self-teaching it, to becoming a Western Province rugby fan, a Springbok fan. And then eventually, when I went back to university after my time in the Army, my focus in history and politics was on Southern Africa primarily. And it just grew from there. I decided in 1984, when I was a private at the Education Center in Bad Kreuznach, Germany, trying to sign up for a college class at night. While I was sitting there, I looked over. There was a pamphlet there on the table next to where I was waiting, and it said the U.S. Army Foreign Area Officer Program, FAO. And this program is for people, when they're officers, they become senior captains and junior majors. They send you to graduate school. They pay for it. You get your salary, you go to university, you get a degree, a master's degree in political science or international relations, something like that. You become a regional specialist for a particular region. They send you to language school, usually in California at the Defense Language Institute, but not exclusively. And you learn a language that's applicable in the region where you're going. For Africa, that's typically French. Sometimes, on rare occasions, is Portuguese, but that's it. They used to also teach people Afrikaans, but they've stopped doing that in recent years. It's rare that they teach Afrikaans. They would send you to DC for that in a short course. But so you get graduate school, postgraduate school, you get language instruction, and then they would send you on basically an internship for 12 months at an embassy or somewhere like that abroad where you work in the country and you travel throughout the region. In 1984, I saw this program. I was a private first class, and being a captain or major was just a pipe dream. And I made a decision right then and there in 1984 after seeing that pamphlet. And I had that pamphlet somewhere I still have it somewhere. One day I wish I could find that and show it to you, but it's somewhere in a box. And that if I find it, I'll be very excited when I go through some documents. But I made a plan in 1984 that I wanted to do the following. I wanted to go back to university, earn my degree, so university degree, become a second lieutenant commissioned in the Army, go on active duty, which wasn't guaranteed, you had to earn it, become a military intelligence officer, and then become a foreign area officer for Africa, make full colonel, and become the defense attaché in South Africa. Of those 8 objectives, 7 came true. The only one that didn't come true was defense attaché in South Africa, and that is because when I was promoted to full colonel, which is the position, is the full colonel's position, when I was promoted to that rank, the Africa Command took the position. It used to be filled by an Army officer. At one time it was Air Force. It was Army, then Air Force, then back to Army. They took the Army position and handed it over to the Navy because they had very few positions in Africa. So the Navy got that position. And so since the defense attaché is a naval officer, I can no longer fill that position. Plus, you have to be on a rotational cycle because someone goes there for 3 years, 2 or 3 years. So when they come available, if you're moving at that time for assignment, then you can compete for it. But I was off cycle and it was to different service. So every one of those things, a plan I made when I was a private at the age of, I wasn't even 20 years old, and I made that decision. And my life played out exactly that way. A lot of bumps along the road, a lot of challenges. It wasn't easy. Discriminated against a few times, and just some real challenges. But if you work hard and you have the talent, you can succeed, and that's what worked for me. So I overcame the poverty I grew up in and became somebody and did something. So that's why, Teresa. There's a lot more to it, but that's a short version. Okay, now I'm behind again in the chat. Trump knows what's in the document. Yep. Cecius says, be patient. Yep. And Grayman gave that super chat. Thank you for that. Thank you, Flash Gordon, for your membership. Hemet, if you're fit, I recommend UPS. My something started age 20. He works part-time, has great benefits, including medical. UPS is great. It's fantastic. They pay an outrageous rate, great benefits, dental. When I worked for UPS as a part-time employee, even though I worked 30 hours a week at university, it was still classified as a part-time employee. Unfortunately, you're forced to join unions, and I find that despicable. But I had to join a union, the Teamsters, which are a horrible criminal organization. Stole my money every week and didn't do squat for me except harass me in my workplace. But UPS, as a part-time employee, I had full dental. So if I went to a dentist, it cost me, I think at the time, $20. It was unbelievable. People with criminal records will find it near impossible to become refugees. No shit, Sherlock. Thank you for that lightning story there, Gideon. Is that not something I've told people from the very beginning? And every time I read this statement here, I don't know why you're even putting that out. What, are you trying to scare people? I said on here, where's that? This is U.S. law right here on asylum and refugee status, taken directly out of the law. And I've read this, 100 times over the past week, Gideon. And I said, is admissible to the United States? And when I explain what admissible to the United States is, I tell people if you have a criminal record, you are not going to be able to come here. If you're a pedophile, a rapist, a murderer, you're not coming here. We don't want you. We're not going to take you. Yep. So I don't know why you're adding that, but thank you for that Johnny-come-lately news. If it happens, I hope sanctions individuals. Well, yeah, that would be the smart thing, sanction individuals. Kathleen has to go to work. EU is a cabal organization. I don't disagree with that. What amazes me is USA Pride. Almost every house I see on YouTube videos, almost every house has U.S. flag. Well, a lot of them do. Okay? God, that damn refrigerator finally stopped making noise. By the way, I have a refrigerator that's 30 years old this year. It never went overseas. It went in storage and stayed here for long periods of years when I was overseas, and I'm still using it. So it doesn't have 30 years of use, but it's 30 years old. And it's a fantastic refrigerator. But its problem is it kicks on and burns electricity and makes noise. But it works really well. The problem is that I can't get similar quality. The shit they make today can't replace the quality fridge that I have from 30 years ago. So I won't buy a new refrigerator. They're just terrible. Share this channel with family coworkers. Hope they join. So do I, Herman. Cheryl says, have a safe day. Once the executive order to offer Congress because he needs us to help make America great again. Okay. Do old people qualify for Social Security retirement benefit as refugee or only after citizenship? John, I don't know the answer for that. I don't know the answer for that. But there are. I mean, just have to wait and see. I'm not an expert on that, but they're not going to leave you destitute. And that was my complaint I mentioned last night. I don't think it's fair to pay Social Security to people who never paid into it. It just proves that it's a scam to begin with. Social Security is sold as a retirement plan that you contribute to and you get benefits. So right now, I would receive the maximum benefit that Social Security can pay per month based on how much I paid into it over the 40 plus years I've worked. They take your 30 highest years of earnings, average those, and then that sees where you qualify, and you qualify for the peak. Well, the peak amount is not much, folks. It's $4,300 last time I checked. I can't live off of that. So you have to have other plans. I would rather commit suicide than hand the South African flag in my house. Okay. Many have fear from a political point on the wrath coming down South Africa, which is fear. But okay, the green Mamba passport is not getting any better. Yeah, I know you can't get in a lot of countries with South African passport. U.S. saw a fast situation can change. Look at Zimbabwe. Once a few farms were seized, Mugabe first opposed it. Then when it started, he let it. Yeah, he did. It was very quickly that he started supporting it. Is cybersecurity a skill? Oh yes, Louis Besson. It's very much a skill in demand. Very much a skill in demand, and it pays very, very well. On a lighter note, I saw the funniest movie trailer ever. It's called Friendship. It's A24. It looks as if it's going to be the funniest movie ever. Okay, where's the movie fun? Friendship. Thank you for that, Gideon. I'm not familiar with that. Thank you for sharing that. Sims woke up one morning and banks were closed. Yep, exactly. Parents could not afford my studies, so I approached the college and I was very way ahead of my class with distinctions, but the bursary was offered to third place BE student. There you go. There you're a victim of racism. Marius Fenta, that would qualify you. The website info refugees get around $500 a month. No one can survive on that. That doesn't make any sense. $500 a month. UPS sounds like a cool job. Yeah, it's an exhausting job. They run you to death. Gary both said, I would not go to USA, but hope USA makes it possible for South Africans to immigrate. I tried Australia a few years ago. Well, why would you try to go to Australia, but you wouldn't come here? Let me ask you that, Gary. Why would you want to go to fascist, totalitarian, racist Australia, but you wouldn't want to come to America? I'm very curious about that. Australia is a shithole compared to America. Ooh, that's going to piss some Australians off. Not the country, not the people, the politics. You saw the other video and it was formative. Good. Okay. Would having Family USA help my application for acceptance? It shouldn't have any impact, Desmond. Whether you have family here or not isn't germane. You're not immigrating here. It's refugee status. We give refugee status to people who are in peril, fear of persecution or actual persecution. Doesn't matter if you have family here or on Mars. Shouldn't. You want to immigrate, different story. It has an impact there. Would we have to go through the process, police clearance or background checks happen automatically? That is not something you have to worry about, alternate universe. That's what the U.S. government will do if it's applicable. But, okay, guys, okay, honestly, stop. Okay, really. Stop conflating immigration with refugee. That's what these questions are coming from. Obviously, some of you people tried to immigrate and you've been stopped for whatever reason. This is not immigration. It has no fucking bearing whatsoever on this situation. It doesn't matter if you're 92 or you're 2. It doesn't matter if you are a carpenter or a particle physicist. It doesn't matter if you have any skills or no skills. It doesn't matter if your limbs are missing or you have all your limbs and all your faculties. It does not matter. The background checks, you'll have to answer questions, but the background checks are responsibility of the U.S. government, not you. Don't worry about that. And if they do that, sometimes they're unable to do it. Look at the 160,000 Afghans who poured into our country flying in the back of C-17s coming here in a 3-week period because of Joe Biden's ineptitude. The refugee program is the most unbelievably fucking generous program on the planet. It is a golden ticket for people all over the world to get into America. Ask Arctic, who paid a fortune to be able to come here on a visa to work in this country and went through all kinds of shit and get his pilot's license certified to fly in this country. Ask people who've immigrated to America. Stop conflating. There are 4 categories of people that come into play here. And this is the problem with the media in South Africa. Quit listening to these people and come to my channel and hear the truth. I will tell you the 4 categories of people that are being conflated, and I'll explain to you how they're misrepresented and misled. Number 1, a migrant. The people in America that the racist media in South Africa and in Europe are claiming are being kicked out that are migrants are not fucking migrants. They're criminal alien invaders. When you come to our border and drop your paperwork on the Rio Grande and swim across and invade our country and then claim asylum, you are not an asylum seeker. You are a fraud. If you come to this country and you work here for 15 years and have babies here, you're not legitimate. You're a criminal alien invader. You're not a migrant. Migrant is a legal status. A migrant is someone who gets an H-2A visa who comes to America from South Africa or from Guatemala or from Mexico to work on farms, for example. Or is an H-1B, whatever, the visa for tech guys to go to Silicon Valley. That is a migrant. They're legal and short-term to fulfill a labor requirement. That's it. Done and dusted. These people are not migrants. You're not a migrant unless you're doing that. Next, immigrants. People who want to come to America. There are different ways to do it. One way is if you have enough money, you invest in America, you can come here, you meet certain conditions, that's a lot of money. You can come here and you'll get a residency card, you could stay here, and that's an immigrant. At some point, you can apply for citizenship down the road. Others win the visa or win the lottery at the embassy. I'll put my name in, I want to go to America. I'm in Liberia. Oh, I won, yay, I get to go to America. That's an immigrant, but you come here on your own. You're responsible. No one takes care of you. Migrant, immigrant. Third is asylum seeker. An asylum seeker is someone who is persecuted or oppressed, whose life is in jeopardy if they go back to where they came from, but they're legally in America. Now, who would that be? Well, once again, Mikhail Baryshnikov, a Soviet ballet dancer, if he's in America in the 1980s and he feels oppressed by the Soviet system and he doesn't want to go back to communism, he's here legally on a tour, given a visa. He runs off to the police and goes, I want asylum. That's an asylum seeker. Very few people qualify for that. But millions have been admitted to have court cases flooding our court system by the corrupt, racist, criminal regime of Joe Biden and Barack Obama, destroying our immigration process. Migrant, immigrant, asylum seeker. And a 4th category, a refugee. A refugee is the following, ladies and gentlemen. A refugee is the following. U.S. law is applicable. A refugee under United States law is someone who is located outside the United States. They are of special humanitarian concern to the United States. And how does someone from South Africa suddenly become a special? There's no war there. You're not fleeing from, the Janjaweed in Darfur. You're not fleeing from the government of Myanmar who's murdering the Rohingya. You're not a Uyghur in China being put in concentration camps, gang raped, and your organs cut out. No. So how do you qualify? Well, the special humanitarian concern for the United States is for Afrikaners in South Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination. That's a special humanitarian reason. And because they've been discriminated in employment, education, business, and there's hateful rhetoric directed against them. Just like in Nazi Germany, hateful rhetoric was directed against Jews and gypsies and homosexuals and communists. Well, hateful rhetoric against communists I have a problem with. Anyway, so that gives you special concern in the United States. And they demonstrate that they are persecuted or that they fear persecution. You don't have to prove it. Due to race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. And you cannot be firmly resettled in another country. I've had people ask me, well, I'm in Ireland. I came here as a refugee. Well, okay, good for you. I hope you like Ireland because you can't come to America. You're resettled in another country. You can't come here. You can't destination shop. And someone who is admissible to the United States, which is what Gideon alluded to a few minutes ago. Admissible means that you are not a threat to the country. You're not a terrorist. You're not a terror watch list. You're not a criminal. And there you go. Will my Canada driver's license be expected in the U.S.? What do you mean expected, Martin? What does that mean? Expected. Expected by whom for what? I don't understand your question. Yeah, when you go through background check will be when you apply for citizenship. That's correct. My refrigerator is a baby at age 22 compared to yours, but it's energy efficient. Well, mine was energy efficient in 1995, but energy efficient in 1995 is not the same as 2025. Okay, I find it not only fascinating, but also inspiring how your love for South Africa came to be. Well, thank you, Teresa, and it's a lot more to it, but it's not the time to share all that. A video on impact of sanctions will be great. Don't think people know how many of us. Yeah, I think, Gavin, that's going to be my next video, and hopefully that'll get past that 20,000 mark. The video I did this evening, I don't expect to get a lot of views because it's about HIV, and I think most people don't give a flying flip about HIV unless they're affected by it. So I have 2,000 views on that, and I picked up 2 subscribers. But that one I did before this broadcast. I don't think that might get 5,000 views, and that's fine. A lot of these videos are made for the record to get it out there. So when people try to make false claims, I have a record of what was said and my analysis when I said it. But thank you, Gavin. And impact, yeah, I'm going to make a note of that because that's a video I said here I want to do. So impact of sanctions. Yep, that's a good one. And normally I do that before I go to bed, but I don't think I'm going to do that tonight before I go to bed. I might do it tomorrow morning because I don't have to prep for the news. Tomorrow morning, Vena Dutoy, retired colonel from the South African Defense Force and the leader of the Sightland Civil Defense Organization, will be on the program for Fireside with the Colonels when I do my news. So I don't have to prep for the news in the morning. I can probably work on that video in the morning. If you're asking where you want to go, where you want to, no, you can't pick your destination. We can't just have everybody say they want to go to frickin', Pennsylvania. We couldn't take everybody on. The Homeland Security will determine where you go. You can ask, you can indicate your preference, and maybe they can accommodate you. Cappy's back, said, let's take a bet. I didn't say he's going to read it all. What did I say? Let's take a bet. Read what? Gardic had to stop drinking for 3 months. Gideon says, gotta go. I believe that all my comments were 100% accurate. No debate. Perfect score for me. Have a cool day. No, Gideon, you were 10% correct. The rest was just bullshit. Thank you for participating. Have a good day. Yeah, I've just put Gideon back in his place, Fred. I'm not sure what Copy's saying. Did I miss a statement there? Lahane Ostos, and we need to say Aish many times, or government stupidity. I agree with you. How difficult is it to go the H-1B route? It's not easy unless you're from India. 75% of the people that have H-1B visas are from India. I have a friend, Warren. I don't know where in the U.S. he is, but he actually is doing well with a lot of hard work for what he has. He's a plane tour business. Okay, that's interesting. Vivek will read it. He likes to read. Vivek Ramaswamy is not in the government. Copy. Vivek Ramaswamy is running for governor of Ohio. He left Doge. He's not there. It's the first time I can move with the whole farm. Some of us fall in the top 1% income in the world, but we can all move with this. Exactly working hard. It doesn't matter if you're rich. You can come to America under this program as long as you're discriminated against. Working hard is exactly what the program offers. You can even bring your mother-in-law, if you want to. Arctic lives in South Africa and America. He goes back and forth. Flash Gordon, thank you for that 100 Rand super chat. Sorry I didn't ring the bell. I think we're all just uncertain. We need to know if Mr. Trump was serious in helping us. He's very quiet and makes you... He's not very quiet, Cecilia. Oh my gosh, you're paying attention to what Trump is doing today. He was at Daytona 500. You're not the only thing on the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think you're the only thing on the agenda, you really got to pay attention. Running the most powerful country in the world takes a lot of energy and it has a lot of responsibilities. So here's the whitehouse.gov. Okay, now there are already 21 pages of presidential actions, executive orders. So America's first priorities, his cabinet announcements, his sub-cabinet appointments. And here you go back. This is all on January 20th. All of these, January 20th. You see that? Hiring freeze. Okay, page 19, January 20th. That's already 3 pages of January 20th actions. Page 18, January 20th. That's 4 pages. Page 17, January 20th. That's 5 pages of actions on day 1. Look at that. And finally, we get to the days after that, the 6th one. Okay? Ending illegal discrimination, restoring merit-based opportunity, keep Americans safe in aviation. Look at that. He did that on January 21st before we even had the aviation incident with the mid-air collision, already addressing aviation security. Designated the Houthis as a terrorist organization, designated Ansar Allah as a foreign terrorist organization, gave clemency for Andrew Zabavsky. Anyway, it goes on and on. There are 20 pages of his actions. The 16th of February, he approved a Kentucky emergency declaration based on the storms. The Daytona 500 message. This is yesterday. Then the day before, he announced appointments to the Legislative Affairs, Susan B. Anthony Day, keeping education accessible by ending vaccine mandates in schools. Then on Valentine's Day, he had National Energy Council established. He prohibited federal funding for COVID mandates, established National Energy Dominance Council. And then he remarks by him in Air Force One. It's just, look, you guys are just one in a mass parade of so many things going on. Quit, I'm not attacking you, but quit be so attention-seeking. It's not about Alpha Condor, it's not about South Africa, it's about the world and liberty, and that's what Trump is focused on. You're just one part of it, guys, just one part of it. So there you go. Okay. Thank you for your first super chat there, Flash Gordon. I appreciate that. Working hard, we all waited for the program to start. We cannot yet apply. What? Oh, we're all waiting. Okay. Wow, Chris, shame you need it taped when you live. Same question. What? Taped when you're live? What? I know what you're saying, Lisa, but thank you. I think you're just commiserating with me. Not many mother-in-laws coming. That may be true. I don't know. What's this? It's just uncertainty to know if Trump was serious. Yes, Cecilia, calm down. If you give the Gina cock ideas and they ground my ass, you ain't getting any more road. I watched your Who Can Stand You video. It was really very interesting. Shared it with my family. They all of us came. Thank you, Jarethra. Yeah, and unfortunately, people aren't watching it. Here you go, folks. Yeah, Arctic lives in St. Helena. He flies back and forth from St. Helena all the time. You guys can tell everybody that, okay? In case you didn't know that. He's in St. Helena. All right, where is the Hood Constanti at? It's here somewhere. Oh, I thought I had it here. Come on. There it is. Okay. Hood Constantia. So I recommend everybody watch this. This is from 2 years ago. And the Pet Zoo film crew is... Oh, is this frozen again? God bless it. YouTube. These tabs just keep crashing. So annoying. Okay, let me get there again. Okay. Now we're there. Okay. All right, here you go. So that's the Hood Constantia video, folks. You can go check that out, okay? Also, my Twitter, please join my Twitter account I haven't really been pushing that, but there it is. That's my Twitter account, okay? That's on Twitter, okay? Or the chance you get to the U.S. and someone shoves a camera in your face. Unlikely. Unlikely. Trump has far bigger issues south than his racist laws possible, getting to protect from the hell he can unleash. No, I think it's just meant to put pressure on the South African government to show them he's serious. What better way to undermine South Africa's ANC than take away its tax base? Charles says, most don't understand it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. For some reason, our nation is very gullible and Afrikaners are very gullible. Sorry, I don't mean to insult you, but you believe any shit you're told. I mean, look at the nonsense I have to obliterate here with facts, and all I have to do is show you the documents, and people keep coming with the nonsense that they're hearing on News 24 and that other people are telling them. Silly. I mean, look at the analysis of Willem Petzer's rally in Pretoria. Only 1,000 people, only hundreds of people. If 3 people were there, that's all that mattered. It was about delivering the memorandum. Good day, Colonel. I'm an ex-policeman. Is there a process to get enrolled in police in the United States? There is. My wife is a pharmacist and would like to carry on. Well, she'll have to get certified and licensed here to be a pharmacy assistant in the state where you wind up living or where you want to move to. Not hard. I mean, there's a pharmacy less than a kilometer from my house right down here at the shopping center, just around the corner, around the drive-in theater there, and they have pharmacists there. So it's not that hard to do. As far as being a policeman, you will be able to bring your CV and explain your experience, and you'll be interviewed. The problem you have to remember is that we have all kinds of police. We have county sheriffs, we have municipal police, we have federal police at all different levels, state police, state troopers. Typically, there's going to be an age limit, but you could get employed by like a sheriff's office and do law enforcement or a municipal police department, and you could probably get hired on there. So cops in Pennsylvania are compensated very well. I think the average starting salary is $50,000 to $80,000, something like that. I looked it up one time. But there are physical fitness standards and there are requirements. I'm not sure if they get easier as you get older, but anyway, we're always in need of quality law enforcement officials. We have officials that are in law enforcement that are not citizens, so that's not an issue. What are the times when you go live? Veritas Aquitas, well, normally I go live 7 days a week at 6 p.m. South Africa time, 365 days a year, unless I'm traveling on business or doing consulting. I have consulting coming up in a couple weeks at the Work College. I'll be gone, so I will try to stream at 11 o'clock, but it'll be from my mobile through my cell phone, through my cellular network. And that one will typically wind up just being a conversation about what's going on. Watch my luck. That's when they'll announce this program and I'll lose a lot of views. But yeah, so every day. Now, it doesn't happen every day, and normally that's a news broadcast. There was a time I would do a night owls program, take an hour break, and do it for people who like to come on in the evening. We just do what we're doing now, chew the fat and talk about things. I'm not doing the night owls habitually now. I did it yesterday, but that was because I covered rugby and I didn't have a chance to do my news program. So every day, 6 o'clock, I do the news. Typically now, because of all the uncertainty and all the questions about what's going on, I'm doing this nightly one at 11 p.m. my time, which is 6 a.m. Now, I recognize that my 6 a.m. time intrudes on the broadcast of a couple other people in South Africa, and I'm not going to apologize for that because obviously I'm getting an audience here. We have almost 4,000 people who've tuned in for this broadcast right now, and 455 people are watching it right now to find out and share their thoughts and concerns and answer questions, for me to answer questions. So obviously there is a pent-up interest in this at the moment. And it will only grow once the standards are announced. And I will continue to do this for the short term at this hour. But that week that I'm going to Carlisle, I may not be able to do it. I might be able to do it for an hour and then get to bed because I have to be in the morning to Carlisle to the War College. And then I have another gig in late March, early April at the War College. I'm looking at potentially a trip to South Africa in April and May. I would like to go to the Cape Town Jazz Festival in late April, if anybody's going to go to that. Also, I'll be catching, it's doing it again, YouTube. I'll also be catching some URC games in South Africa. So, yeah, I'm accredited as a journalist with the Bulls at Loftus, and so if there's games there, I'll be going to that. So anyway, YouTube, stop being so difficult here. Anyway, the poll has how many? 763 votes on the poll. Wow. Yeah. Now, my concern, and look, I'm not losing sleep over this, but my concern is that I think a number of people are watching my content just to find out about this, and they're not serious about watching the news, and they'll abandon the program after they find out what's going on. And that's fine. That's your prerogative. I would hope that we grow to 250,000 subscribers and people would stick to the program because they get the news and they get the unvarnished truth here, and I have no dog in the fight. I'm biased, absolutely 100% biased. America is the greatest country in the world. Capitalism is the greatest economic system devised by humanity, and representative democracy is the best form of government we've yet to establish. I'm biased. There you go. That's my worldview. That's where I come from. People have to take personal responsibility for themselves and not expect handouts from others. It's not the role of government to take care of people. It's the role of people to take care of themselves and for communities to help out where it's appropriate. That's my worldview. I hate communism. I hate socialism. They're morally depressing. They're anti-human. And I hate race hustlers. So there you go. That's my worldview. But I'm objective, as people who've listened to this broadcast tonight have seen. Okay? My husband told me this morning there's a rumor at his work that entrenchments is on the board again. Why are you not the U.S. Ambassador to South Africa? Because no one knows who I am, Warren DeSwart. I'm not moving political circles. Instead of choosing to leave the military like so many other people do just to go into politics and make it big there, I chose to stay and support and defend the Constitution for 36 and a half years, my entire adult life from the age of 18 until 55. When I retired, I planned to run for the Senate in Pennsylvania, and I was going to use that time from 2020 to 2022 to run for the seat that John Fetterman occupies now. The problem is that I'm not from Pennsylvania, and I'm not known here, and so I was going to spend those 2 years going county to county, meeting people, and trying to get the message out about who I was, and spend those 2 years to get enough support, and then run as a Republican in 2022. Unfortunately for me, thank you, Albertus Olofse. Unfortunately for me, COVID scam started in early 2020, and I couldn't travel Pennsylvania because you couldn't go places and have meetings. And so I lost a year of that time that I could have, as an unknown, met people and influenced them to vote for me. And so when I began to file paperwork to enter the Senate race in 2022, there were 18 Republicans filing. Well, some of them were big names, like, of course, numbnuts there, the freaking TV healthcare, Dr. Oz, and then Dave McCormick, a billionaire from Pennsylvania. And I didn't stand a chance. I wasn't going to waste my time. So I didn't run for that seat. The Republicans split their vote, and John Fetterman became the senator. So that's the seat I wanted to occupy. I did run for office last year, and I only spent my own money, which cost me a fortune, my own savings. I drained my life savings to run for office for the 92nd District of Pennsylvania and lost. I discovered how dirty and dishonest politics is, even at the local level, and my stomach was turned by it. So why am I not the ambassador to the U.S.? Because Donald Trump doesn't know who I am, and nobody's telling whom I am. So I can't help that. I have no way of reaching him. It does make one uncertain about what's happening. Like Colonel said in his other videos yesterday, it's one of the flaws, not enough info yet. Exactly. Colonel, I'm not good at politics. Just want to know if South African government keeps up their BS with Trump, what chances Trump will invade? We're not going to invade South Africa. That's not going to happen, Lorette. That's not going to happen. What will happen, though, is AGOA is going to go away, and that's going to hurt a lot of people, particularly the farming community. They're going to be sorry. So when Nick Serfontaine tells us fairy tales about South Africa and the U.S., and when Agri-SA does the same thing, that's not helpful because you're going to be the ones that suffer when you lose the 2% tax advantage and you have to pay taxes to get your goods in America. Okay. Cecilia says, thank you. Feeling better already. Okay, cool. Ludwig Hoya, welcome to you. Trump moving so fast, mainstream media can't even see him. Yeah, he's like Flash Gordon. Yep. Still need to ring the bell. Okay, I want my bell. Sorry. Okay, Flash Gordon. There you go. It's late, man. I don't want to wake my neighbors up. Would love to go to the States, but not as a refugee. Well, Ben, you can come here as a visitor. Vad says, hello. I know USA has a lot of things going on. Is that the main reason this is not really covered in mainstream America? The reason it's not covered in mainstream America is because who cares? What do Americans care about South Africa? It's a tiny country with virtually no GDP. It's not even a rounding error when you look at our GDP. It has no real influence globally. All it does is have a government that race hustles and sticks its nose and insults people around the world while pretending to be take the moral high ground. South Africa gives us virtually nothing of any critical importance. They provide nothing for it. Americans know nothing about South Africa. The media campaign was ramped up, and the hatred of the National Party by the media and the apartheid era is the last most people know. And the thing they know is 1994, and that's the blinder that they're seeing the world through. South Africa just doesn't matter. I'm sorry, South Africans, and I'm not insulting you, and I'm not offending you because people know how I feel about South Africa, but it just doesn't matter. Why would people in Pennsylvania care? Why would they care about South Africa? What do they care? There's no interest, no value to them whatsoever. I mean, that's the bottom line. The media's not going to cover it because it's not newsworthy. It's not newsworthy. Sorry, Van, but that's the truth. Washington is not too expensive if you want to live with all the politicians. Washington is unbelievably expensive. When people tell me all kinds of stories regarding refugee status, just tell them, did Colonel Chris say this or did you read it on the embassy website? Exactly, Natasha. If I didn't tell you and if you didn't read it on the embassy website, then it's bullshit. Is Debbie here? She just put something in there. Okay. Trump moving so fast. Okay, got that. President Trump has a lot on his plate. He has lots of bad things to sort out. Yeah, he has a lot of mess to clean up. If you follow U.S. News, you will see Trump has done more work in 1 month than Joe did. But he's done more work in 1 month than Obama did in 8 years, frankly. Have they already stopped the money in South Africa? Or are they still? No, see, that's another thing, Jacques Dreyer. They're lying about it. The South African government is lying. Great Natasha, if they don't give us the money, we won't give minerals. We haven't stopped the money. Stop lying to people. The money hasn't stopped. That's nonsense. Utter nonsense. No. Trump has stopped future money. The money that's already allocated by law is still going to South African charities and third parties. It hasn't stopped. And they lied. They said Trump suspended and froze all foreign aid. That's a lie. He never did. He froze all future spending. In fact, I looked it up earlier. I've got it. It says exactly that. It says future spending. It says no new commitments or obligations. New commitments and obligations would be things that are contracts entered into in the course of the rest of the fiscal year. Those that are already under contract deliver things should do it. But unfortunately, all these attention-seeking, lying, whiny NGOs complain and mislead people. Now, apparently, there's a problem with the payment system that USAID uses called Phoenix. And that's a real issue, that people aren't getting paid the money that they're authorized to be paid. But that's a State Department issue to fix because USAID is being dismantled. So that's on the State Department to fix that. But it doesn't mean that the money's not legally there. It's just not getting to them. But South Africa will not get foreign aid next year. $500 million out the window. Say goodbye to it. Tennessee also got hit, Stephanie. Yeah, I know. Well, they'll probably declare that too. Consider applying for New Zealand visas before this became an option. I think U.S. is a better choice. Well, I love New Zealand, but this is a far better choice. Tiny little country on the ring of fire, earthquakes, Maori whining about race issues when half the towns are named, Pacific Island names, and they rule the roost there. You guys in the U.S. are such great help. Do you know Colonel Chris is the best, and the other guys give such great advice. You have to put mine. Okay, Marissa. Thank you for the super chat there. Deandra, hi there. Are you able to discuss financial aid? What do you mean by financial aid? Financial aid to me is for a college student. News for the refugee will come through this week. Well, let's hope, though. I have no basis to... People should just calm down. Made it thus far. Yep. Actually, landing in St. Helena, don't recommend it. My hat is still somewhere in the wind. I don't doubt that, Arctic. It is windy there. Hin appelki tiskil. Good news, okay? I feel like an American culture is closest to Afrikaner culture respects of value. What's closer than New Zealand? Australian outback culture is similar. I think American brands will pull out of South Africa. No, I don't think they will, Copus, unless they're forced to. Telegram address. For the Telegram group? Okay, sure. I'll put that up here. Hang on. Telegram WhatsApp group. Telegram U.S. Refugee Info Group. Here you go. The problem is that South Africans don't like to go to Telegram. I prefer you do that because I can put 220,000 people in that group. Can only put 1,500 in the WhatsApp groups. Plus, in the WhatsApp group, people are harassing me, sending me stupid messages all the time, thinking that it's appropriate for them to just reach out to me. And in Telegram, you don't see my number. Okay, you'll know about it on this channel. Stay tuned. Exactly. You'll find out about it here. RSG is a legit radio channel for news. I have no idea what RSG is. Oh, yeah, don't try to bribe a cop in America. You can go to jail for that. What do you mean about troops. I'm not asking President Trump to send troops, just asking why the mainstream in USA has not mentioned this once that I've seen. Because it doesn't matter. And Nick Rose gave a super chat. We're living the meme. We are living the meme. That's true. Neil Maxwell, maybe you should take a day off, Chris. Looks like the chat has really triggered you recently. No? Neil Maxwell, you haven't been here for the past 5 years. You think this is triggered? Could somebody that's been here, I don't know, is Dylan here? I think Debbie's here. Val, I don't think Val's here, but I know Arctic's here. Can somebody tell Neil that this isn't triggered? You want to see triggered? You want to see a rant? You want to see a rant? You want to see me triggered? Oh, this is nothing, man. Thank you for your concern, Neil. But this is nothing. During COVID, you want to see triggered? Oh my goodness. And I think it's very unfair to you to say that you think I'm triggered. Are you watching my interviews with people? Are you watching my prepared videos? There's no triggering there. Wanted to buy my Jeep, but decided to wait till America. Okay. Is there an Afrikaans kerk in America? I don't know. There might be, but I'm not aware of it. Yeah, Trump is keeping the media busy with Ukraine and all the other stuff. All this confusion will be avoided if everyone here in South Africa learns to rather read official documents published by us rather than listen to news YouTube sensationalists. Jan Fondria says, join channel Chris and pay subscription because Chris is heavy on the Starbucks every morning. Yeah, I don't know who RSG is. Never heard of him. I'm a dead end, small one-man business and don't see a future. Gotcha, Albert. You're welcome, Veritas. Yvonne says, agree, Neil. He's doing good work, but people don't take the time to look at previous videos explaining all these repetitive questions. So you agree, Van, that I'm being triggered. Well, you're wrong. Hey, Shawnee. Great chat on 2CTV earlier, reference Crown Prince Reza. Okay, didn't know about that. Vehement, welcome to you. Monica Heyman, don't you think you'll find anything Afrikaans USA? Well, more people come here, you might. There are other channels on Southern politics. What? I don't know what you're saying. Colonel, you're welcome to visit Lambert's by. Well, thank you for that. Darty's staying there. Well, good for you. Awesome. I'll bring a Southern flag USA. Okay. The Gala are strong with this one. The force is strong with this one. Love to meet and break bread with you. Darty, yeah, fantastic. I don't know where you're at, but I get around South Africa. One day when I'm U.S., we'll come and make foot cook for you from scratch. Marissa, that's not necessarily very kind of you to offer, though. Like our Colonel Skinny, exactly. Trying to lose some weight here. Never expect you to be a jazz fan. We also love jazz. There's not a lot of Afrikaans people to do, at least not. I love jazz. Oh, I love jazz. Love jazz. I love hip hop. I love pop. I love rock. I love classical music. I love all kinds of stuff. The only thing I don't really love is country music. I can tolerate it. Monty Jackson's a friend, so I have to like country music. I don't have a choice. Trying to sneak in with a hot cabin crew. That's right. Well, you're famous to us, Chris. Well, thank you, Ludwig. Your playlists are amazing. Yeah, I've been doing this for decades. Yeah, oh, you saw my playlist. Is it still there, the Afrikaans playlist? Or are you talking about the playlist just for the videos? No, I have an Afrikaans playlist on my original channel, and I don't know if I built a new one on this channel. Love American patriotism and following American news for years. Fox News. Well, Fox News has captured Yaku, but yeah, I mean, they're not bad. You know, if the genius stops me traveling USA, I'm definitely going to have this. You don't need to stop me. I just need an idiot in immigration who puts the wrong date on my passport. Colonel, do you have any thoughts about Fetterman approaching more nonpartisan Republican stances? Fetterman is a wackadoodle. I don't trust him any further than I can throw him, and I can't lift the guy, so I don't trust him. He also is impolite. It's really inappropriate. I know he's large and obese, but he can pay a tailor to get him pants that fit him instead of walking around in hoodies and shorts all the time into the Senate. He did the same thing in the State House in Pennsylvania. Very disrespectful. Check out Dynamite if you're a Christian, okay? Drino DeBeer, Colonel Chris, I am a security officer in South Africa. How does the registration work, USA, and what are the criteria? Registration for what? I mean, to become a security officer? We don't have security officers. Do you mean you want to work for private security? There are lots of private security firms in America, but it's not like South Africa. I don't have to have guards protecting my house. I'm not in a walled community. There are places like that in America. It depends on where you're at, and every state has different rules. So I really can't answer it unless you know where you're going to be. Sorry about the politics, but your experience tells me how hard it can be in general. No politics, Veritas. No politics. You need a social security number to have a bank account. That's correct. Or a taxpayer identification number, which is the same thing. Wish, not out where we're unfortunate, but very important. Huh? People who voted yes understand what it means to be a refugee. Maybe they don't, Henri. but it's a poll. No one committed to being a refugee. Just leading duplicate questions. Thank you for that, Arctic. Okay. We have guards guarding hotels in California. I believe there is a certificate you have to acquire for security. Or vehement. That's every state has different rules. You can't just make a blanket statement like that, but it's probably fair. I don't have a jazz playlist put together. I don't have one. Yeah, one thing I don't like is blues. Blues is kind of depressing. I don't really like that so much. With you on that, not modern talking. Oh, I love modern talking. You're my heart. You're my soul. You keep it shining everywhere I go. Dun 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 dun. Cherry, cherry lady. I love modern talking. Yeah. Well, I'm not married yet, but once we reach the U.S., how wrong are they about cooking outdoors? So to speak English, what? You're going to show us how we're wrong. Well, thank you for that. Traveled extensively, been over 60 countries. South Africa will always be home. Everywhere I have been has its problems. South has big problems, but can be saved with some luck and influence. Well, DM Photographic, good luck to you. I've been in over 78 countries, lived in 16 countries, and South Africa is an amazing place, but it is broke ass and run by race hustling nonsense, which is destroying the country from the inside and affects black, white, and brown. And if you think you can change that, good luck to you. It's going the opposite direction. I mean, there might have been hope for South Africa. The fact that the ANC finally got below 50% in this last election, which I predicted, by the way, in November 2021, even though the election was in May 2024, the ANC has acted quite the opposite, pushing through the Bella Bill, stealing education from local communities, forcing 94% of students in South Africa whose first language is not English to be taught in English. It's a disgraceful, racist bullshit. And that affects Tswana and Zulu, Xhosa, Khoi, San, Afrikaners, Portuguese, everybody. Then the 3% black tax, the immorality of stealing money from corporations to fund their opponents, their competition based on skin pigmentation. It's beyond morally repulsive. It's unconstitutional. It's immoral, and it violates the basic tenets of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And this is what's happened since the election. Now they have expropriation on compensation. If you actually believe that no compensation means nothing and it's all about unoccupied land, then you're a fool. You're a fool who can't read basic standard English. The document comes in two languages. One of them is English. It's very clear what they're going to do. It's also not about land. It's about taking your property away. And if you think that things are going to get better, it's only going to get worse. Why? Because the DA is complicit. They're part of this. The Democratic Alliance is part and parcel of what's going on now. And the two of those parties have over 60% of the vote. So they'll work in tandem, and they'll destroy South Africa together. There you go. So I appreciate your comments, and I'm glad you love South Africa, and I hope you have a wonderful life there, and I hope things go very well for you. But that's not the case for many South Africans, black, white, and brown. Any new guests? Yeah, at Alternate Universe, you've tuned in late. Later today, Vainant Dutoya will be on the program for our Fireside with the Colonel segment. We have a lot to talk about. Had a bit of a scare yesterday, folks. I was contacted at 3:30 in the morning with an Afrikaans voice message telling me that Vainant Dutoya had been murdered in a shooting. For those who know, Colonel Vainant Dutoya, who was in the South African Defense Force, famously a prisoner of war, and is now the leader of the Sightlander Civil Defense Organization. That was very disconcerting. Of course, as a leader, I didn't panic. I did get a voice note saying that they thought that this was true, but we're trying to write it down. So I reached out to a few contacts in South Africa who have contacts in the police to find out, in fact, this was true. There were a few things that made it questionable, but I sent a message and fired it off immediately to Vainant. Also fired it off to a friend of mine who works with Vainant. It was disconcerting because the message went through with 2 tick marks to Vainant, but he didn't respond. It was already daytime in South Africa on a Sunday. He might have been in church, I don't know. And then my other friend only got 1 tick mark. So all kinds of things run through your head. But in the meantime, I stayed calm. I reached out to my contacts. They reached out to the police, and I got a copy of the police report. In fact, Vainant Dutoya was shot and killed in a robbery in Springs in Gauteng, not far from Benoni. And unfortunately, that gentleman was a captain in the police, SAPS. He was shot during the course of a robbery and died as a consequence of his wounds. Captain Vainant Dutoya. He wasn't the colonel we know. The colonel will be my guest tomorrow on my co-hosted program, Fireside with the Colonels. That's at 6 p.m. South Africa time. And that's in about 9 hours. And then on Wednesday, Franz Cronje, the former director, CEO of the Institute for Race Relations, will be on the program. And I have to check the time on that one. And on Thursday, Rob Hersoff, South Africa's wealthy businessman, will be on the program from London. We're going to be talking about a few topics. Okay? So there you go. All right, did that answer the question about who's coming? You're right, but the Zulus and Xhosa supported Bella and EWC because they saw Afrikaners were mad. Their racism is their downfall. Probably. Jacques Heinous says, what is the view of our black American brothers that 20,000 white farmers are coming to stay in the hood? Well, I'm not sure really what that comment means. There aren't 20,000 white farmers coming to stay in the hood. There are only 28,000 commercial white farmers left. And if 20,000 come here, South Africa will collapse agriculturally in a matter of months as things aren't planned in next year. We'll be sending food aid to South Africa. That's not going to happen. There might be a few dozens or hundreds of farmers who come here, but probably not more. As far as in the hood, the hood is only major metropolitan areas and only a few cities. So anyway, I wish I had you on WhatsApp. I got so much info on what really going on in South Africa and who's behind it, says Darlene. Well, I'm not really sure what you're talking about. No matter where, you can send me an email. If one of my mods could put the email for the channel on here, you can send me an email. If I get a chance, I'll get to it, and you can send me an email. Fireside with the Colonel's great perspectives. Yep, Nick, thank you. Also had a fright when I got the news about Van der Toy. Yeah, Carolyn, that's why I didn't share it, and I didn't put it out. I didn't talk about it till later in the day. Yeah, I talked. I can confirm 100% that Van der Toy, the Van that we know, is not the person. I had a conversation with him earlier today, my time, evening time, yours, and we talked about our conversation for later today. So that would be yesterday for South Africans. Well, for all of us now, it's 2 a.m. So I talked to him. And he's alive. He's well. Yeah. I say I don't run off with unconfirmed news unless I have no choice because there's important news. But that was the sort of thing you don't tell people because that will really cause some chaos. Yeah, Caroline. I'm not here to just get refugee info. I would like to see things clearly from outsider's lens. Thank you, Amanda. Yvonne Klassen, thank you for what you're doing. If it's appreciated, you're welcome. Don't have your non-CA email address. You're lazy, man. It's on the freaking channel. Okay, I'll take the time to go get it. I'll go get it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, you guys are killing me, man. You're killing me. Okay, let me get to the channel. Boy, we're not really getting very far with subscribers today. I hope that changes. My channel. Go to my channel. I'll get it for you guys. Same thing you all could be doing right now. In fact, let me get to this right now. More. They've changed this, but view email address. There it is. Okay. All right. Now, understand, folks, that I'm getting hundreds of messages, so don't expect a timed response from me. I'll do my best, but last night I spent 3 hours answering messages on WhatsApp and Telegram and emails after I finished broadcasting, so I got to bed late. Yep, there's the email address. Debbie put it up. Thank you, Debbie. Okay. Also, only find it out late yesterday afternoon. Jan van Driel said, I worked with Captain Van der Toy when we were opening a Springs Mall. It's horrible news. I'm really sorry. Folks, if you're curious who the gentleman is who was murdered by these thugs, 4 black thugs, this is Captain Van der Toy. This is a photograph of him, so you would recognize his photo. Thoughts and prayers to his family. This is horrible. This is the life of a policeman, unfortunately, being murdered by thugs. There he is, Captain Van der Toy. And in case you're curious, yes, he was named. He's a namesake of Captain Dutoy. That's a 9mm in his holster there. Looks like that one had a lot of use because there's this wear on the black paint off of the back of the hammer there. Yeah, Captain Van der Toy murdered on Sunday in a robbery, 7:30 in the morning in Springs in South Africa. Horrible situation, folks. But our thoughts and prayers to the family, but it's not the Van that we know. So, Lauren Clegg, welcome to you. Chris knows about everything that's going on here. Yeah, El Marie, look, because of the contacts I have in South Africa, I suspect I was one of the first people that was aware of this situation. 3:30 in the morning, if I recall correctly, is when I found it. It might have been a little bit before that. I could check, maybe 3:15, which would mean that it was that would be about 10:15 in the morning South Africa time. So that would be just a couple hours after this incident happened. Could William Pest be in trouble with Southern government handling? No. Why? There's no sensitive information there, Herman Lowe. That's all public information. The documents available. These are matter of public record. There's nothing he did, nothing illegal he did. You can write to anybody you want. No, Willem Petzer's not in trouble for that, but that doesn't mean the government's not watching him. I'm sure they're probably watching him, but there's nothing he's done that's illegal, so I wouldn't worry about that. Jackie about property. Okay, condolences. Yeah, condolences to his family. When does South African collapse threaten international shipping? Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to cover this again. Yeah, the Red Sea is a little wild because of the Houthis and because of pirates off the coast of Somalia. But all it takes is militaries are willing to patrol that area and do the job. and for commercial shipping to be armed. I mean, you're allowed as a commercial ship to defend yourself. The fact that any of these ships were taken is just stupid. These stupid companies were cheap and didn't have security on board. I mean, you need to have crew-served weapons and armed guards on your ships and 24-hour patrols and radar and sonar to detect these Zodiacs coming towards your boat and shoot them. Shoot them. Blow them out of the water. It's allowed under international norms. Piracy is an international crime, and people are allowed to defend themselves. The fact that these ships were taken, like the Captain Phillips stupid movie with Tom Hanks, is moronic. It never should have happened. Never should happen. Subscribers will come tonight. Most are working. Yeah, I think you're right about the Marissa. I hope that's the case. But they didn't come on Sunday. It was the slowest day we've had in about 2 weeks, which is not a concern. But, I'm getting greedy. I want that 100,000. I want that YouTube plaque so I can take it out in the woods, blow it apart with a 12-gauge shotgun, and then hold it up proudly and say, F you, YouTube. Anyway. Probably one of the few brown people on here. No, you're wrong, Veritas. You're very wrong. Copy's here. Hendo's here. There are a lot of brown people on here. Wife is Afrikaans. We don't know which way this will go. Yep. No, you're wrong, Veritas. You're making an invalid assumption. This is a very diverse ethnic community in the Wyatt Army. I have always been very supportive of the colored community in South Africa. I've been honest about their trials and tribulations and tried to promote that community as much as possible. I reach out to coloreds. I reach out to Tswana. And I don't know many Basotho, so I don't have much inroads with there, but I do promote them. You'd be mistaken if you think it's mostly a white community, all white. It's not all white. There's lots of folks here. 9mm Beretta, correct. Thanks for all your help and updates. I have a WhatsApp channel about refugees and share all your info there. Thank you very much, Prodigy. I appreciate that. If they stop passports to block people leaving, they become a rough state, and the USA may send a military aircraft. Yeah, exactly. A rogue state. Somebody asked a question earlier. I missed it. I apologize for that. We are a speck on the ass, the most insignificant American. Oh, that's what it was. The sea lanes. Ludwig asked about sea lanes. Guys, I covered this last night. The sea lanes don't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just an issue. The American government doesn't care about that. The Cape of Good Hope isn't important. The only time it's important, it really matters, of significant matter, is when the Suez Canal is shut down. That's it. And that's rare. It was shut down last year, the year before last, because a ship hit the side of the canal and they shut it down for a few weeks. And that was disastrous for global shipping. But the sea lanes around South Africa are not patrolled by the South African military. Your blue water fleet is a joke. It's a joke. You spent hundreds of millions of dollars buying ships from the Germans and you can't even put them to sea. Your submarines are sitting in dock in Simonstown going nowhere. So you can't even patrol, and your search and rescue is virtually non-existent. South Africa has the international responsibility for search and rescue down to the Antarctic from the tip of southern Africa. They can't even do search and rescue 10 miles out at sea most times, let alone go to Antarctica. So it doesn't matter. Your ports are broken. They're the worst in the world. That's not my assessment. That's the international community that says that the worst maritime container shipping ports in the world are located in South Africa. Every one of your ports, Durban, Port Elizabeth, Cape Town, are rated incredibly low. There's no value whatsoever. Venant van Heerden, welcome to you. There's no value whatsoever to South Africa and the physical location. So, okay. Can't wait to be around Harley-Davidson dealerships. There's Harley-Davidson dealership just down the road here, a massive one on the Carlisle Pike, and the factory where they make Harley-Davidsons is located half an hour from my house. Okay, hardly any ships left. Yeah, there are hardly any. Anyone God-fearing person who hates communism and sports capitalism is my friend. Well, I'm with you there. Can't even stop the Chinese fishing. You can't even stop them from taking abalone. The Chinese steal abalone from your shore, and you can't even stop that. They come right up the store and they poach abalone. And, of course, they're helped by colored communities, mostly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I may defend coloreds, but I'm going to call out the people who do this. Mostly coloreds stealing abalone in the Eastern Cape. Yep, poaching it, but not exclusively. All right, I'm going to end that poll because we got 924 votes. Or should I keep it going a little bit longer? Okay, I'm not brown. I'm not white. I'm tanned with red hair. Well, I'm pink. The Howl train is down? Really? I didn't know that. What happened there? Louise Rayner says, thank you for information. You're very welcome, Louise. You're very welcome. Should I close there's 925 votes. Heard some dude was drilled for a borehole as Joburg was hit the Howl train. That's funny. You're welcome, Anshin Streitum. Appreciate that you don't mince words about the abject state of the country. When I do that on X, I'm labeled racist. Well, you're not a racist. If you call people names or you give people advantage or disadvantage based on the race, then you are racist. I don't do that. People who act like fools, I treat them equally with disdain, whether they're white, brown, or black. People who are bigots, I treat them with disdain, whether they're white, brown, or black. People who are racist, same thing. If people say things that are insulting, disrespectful, but they don't mean to be bigoted or racist, then I'll point out. Most of the things that people complain about racism are not racism. They're simply bigotry. And the inability of the media and for people on social media to make the distinction between bigotry and racism is epic. The subs will never go back to see it. Will be more than yearly budget to fix them. Yep. Oh, it's down between Park and Stanton Station. Didn't know that. Cape Harbor is now expanding and building Newport in Saldana Bay. Okay. That isn't going to change the overall ranking. Emergency service will be high alert throughout the city due to heavy and persistent rain. It's a joke. I mean, doesn't the city need to approve drilling? Okay. 936 votes. Please vote in the poll before I close it. Let's see if we get to 1,000 votes in that poll. Van says, have you seen Joel Pollack interview on Biz? Think he explained well what else could benefit. And also, I saw parts of it. I didn't see it. I've also explained those things before. Said it very similar. But he also got something wrong, according to what my viewers said. I didn't see that portion of the interview where he talked about the strategic importance of Simonstown Naval Base. It's not strategically important. It's of no strategic importance whatsoever. It could be, but currently it's of no value whatsoever. Is it used to project power into the South Atlantic or the Indian Ocean? Nope. Is it used to interdict narco trafficking and piracy? Nope. Is it used to conduct search and rescue missions? Not to any great effectiveness. It has no value whatsoever. Could it be used and could it be valuable for the United States? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But it's not. It's not. It's not. And from what I understand, I didn't see it, but apparently Joel Pollack said it was. It's not. Okay. What did Ivan say? Yeah. Oh, Van. Yeah, I didn't see that. I couldn't even imagine what it's like to have equal opportunities. Some Afrikaners become so used to being a second-class human. Ooh. Be wild tattoo. Guys, screenshot the poll and send it to the haters. Yeah, well, this is just one of many polls. I do them every night. This is the highest percentage of people who said they want out. That's pretty crazy. So I hope that means that you aren't all people that are going to just abandon my channel once you get whatever you want. The train service remains suspended between Park and Rosebank due to illegal drilling on a private property above the Howe train tunnel. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So you weren't kidding. Someone was drilling for water? Clan William, we're at 948. Let's push it to get to 1,000. Okay, let's get 1,000 votes on this. You can vote no. I don't care. That's fine. But just vote. I want to get the 1,000 votes. So then we can show such a representative sample. SCB says also, good morning, Colonel. Thank you so much for everything. You're welcome. Rhinos died under the watch of from Paramount. Paramount. I'm familiar with Paramount. I was hosted by Paramount on one of my trips to South Africa. This is when I was still in uniform, not now. If stupid was a disability, the entire government would be getting grants. Yeah, polling numbers keep going up. They do. Originally, when we first did this, the first time it was 69%, then it was 67 and 68%, and subsequent polls, and now it's at 85%. That's pretty scary. Pretty scary. And, I made a video because I found it very rude and disrespectful of people. And I'm not picking on Gideon, but I'm just going to call Gideon out. He's not here, so it's not fair. So I'm going to lay that out. This is not meant to harm Gideon. But what Gideon was saying is that, well, I'm fine. This country's great. People aren't discriminated against. That's a synopsis of what he's saying. It's not his exact words. But basically, this is just a bunch of nonsense by people who don't have skills, blaming everyone else for their failures, and they're going to be the ones who go, and good riddance to them. That's the sentiment of many people who have it well off in South Africa who are white. And I think that's very disrespectful to people. I'm not asking any of you to come to this country. If none of you come here, it won't hurt my feelings. And that's great. I'm not encouraging you to come here. I'm not discouraging you to come here. But I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that I can sit in your shoes when your daughter was gang raped, or your wife was murdered, or your husband was shot and killed in front of your toddler, or your 2-year-old was taken out and murdered in the bush, and your home was invaded, or you're robbed, or you've been denied work, or you couldn't get into university because of your race. I'm not going to tell you, just like I wouldn't have told black people in the 1960s who were denied employment because of the race or couldn't move into a neighborhood because of racism, that was right. I can't live your experience. I can recognize and empathize, and I can be honest about it. It's like farm murders. I know many people who are the victims of farm attacks and farm murders in South Africa, the survivors who survived that. I've interviewed them in private. I don't share that. I've only ever once had one person tied to a farm murder on this channel, and that was because her brother was murdered and she asked to come on the channel, and I did the story because these are horribly gut-wrenching stories of domestic terrorism
that is not prosecuted adequately by the state. But I am familiar with many other farm murder survivors and victims' families, and I have met them in private. And people that want to lie about this, they're just full of shit. They're human beings that lack compassion for their fellow brother. And it's even worse because they don't even have compassion for people from their own community. It's disgusting. Do you know the Chinese purchased a lot of farms in Sanderson? No, I don't know that. I've heard rumors. I can't prove it. If I lived on 10 million home in a state with solar and backup waters, I would think everything is fine. Exactly. Do you know? Yeah, exactly. With political science and criminology masters, will my wife get work in her field, or will she have to go to school council like here? Will I be able to start a business? Yeah, you can start a business here. And I can't tell you. It depends what state you go to and what her qualifications are and how they're accepted. Those living in wealth and protective bubbles have blinkers on. Well, those blinkers will come off when their businesses collapse because the tax base collapses around them. I mean, I don't know how you live in South Africa and not recognize how the thing has fallen apart. I've gone back. Well, I've been almost a year since I've been there now, but for the past 2 years, I was back every 6 months for a trip. And every time I came back, I could see how the damn thing, Evo Games just subscribed. I thought you already subscribed. How the damn thing is just falling apart. I don't understand how people can have such cognitive dissonance in that. It's just unbelievable. It's domestic terrorism, exactly what the farm invasions are. They're domestic terrorists. Thank you, Dylan David, for your membership. Christian leaders rally behind ANC. That's BS too. I saw that story. Em remembers that interview. Yeah. Yep. Deval Potgieter, is Arctic your PA? No, he's not. He's actually, Arctic was a very lazy moderator until this issue kicked off. I gave Arctic moderator status a long time ago, and we could get him to do nothing. He just sat back and let people troll and do nothing for a long time. I think he was drinking Jim Beam while he was flying a plane. But when this is kicked off, Arctic has been invaluable, as has Debbie, and Hendo have been invaluable, but they need sleep. Those guys need some sleep. Hendo needs some rest. No, I don't have a PA. I do all this on my own, and I get help from the moderators in the chat. But I do all the research, I do all the preparation, I do all the analysis, I do all the thumbnails, I do the artwork, which isn't very good, and I schedule everyone. So, yeah. Okay, I have many friends that won't move. 970 votes. Can we get to that 1,000? I'm going to end it here real soon if we don't get to 1,000. Stefan says, I'm 33, I have a deployment computer, but I struggle to get work. At the moment, I'm a private transport driver. Shame. Deputy President Mashatile says the new administration in the United States was fed lies. Well, President Paul Mashatile is a fraud. Deputy President Paul Mashatile is about as bright as a 2-watt light bulb, and he's a dingbat doorknob. Deputy President Paul Mashatile lives in a 28 million rand mansion in the Western Cape that he didn't buy, that his son-in-law provided, and it's questionable why that is the case. He also has a luxury mansion in Sandton as well. To be honest, we have a very strong pride complex, and it's blinding people. Yes, Afrikaners are very stubborn and prideful. Sorry, but no one has done shit for 31 years, only allowed minority groups in this country to become more oppressed. Well, that's because the minority groups in the country didn't do anything for themselves. You all vote for, you don't vote. I mean, half of white people don't bother to vote. That's on you. Coloreds, over half of coloreds don't vote. That's on you. If people get off your ass and go vote, it would never have gotten to the stage. Never have gotten to the stage. Yep. He wasn't lazy. Usually on my phone with a dope in one hand, a cigarette in the other. That's funny. That's funny. You're killing me, man. You're killing me. Richard Anthony Seed says, hi, Chris. I'm in big trouble here in South Africa because you have a warrant for arrest or treason? Well, a warrant for arrest or treason doesn't mean you don't have a criminal record. So that's, I'm sorry to hear it. Not sure why. Were you at Senegal on the first time? U.S. Embassy said that the U.S. mission to South Africa is closed today due to President's Day. Yes, of course the embassy is closed. It's a federal holiday. No one's working in the federal government today. Yep, the U.S. embassy is closed. So you're not going to hear anything today. It is closed. It's a federal holiday. When we work in embassies abroad, we get American holidays and we get local holidays off. Woo! But I still worked 7 days a week when I was in Africa. Yep. No, it's closed. That's correct. Today's President's Day. Yes, Anton, keeping the public dumbed down with 30% passing rates is a very effective way to suppress a population. Jean Melon, welcome to you.
981 votes. We need 19 more votes, folks. Okay, and the numbers aren't changing. I didn't think about that. U.S. holiday. Yep, it's a U.S. holiday. Yep. I voted in every election, fought to get people to see what's happening. It cost me most of my relationships. It's hard to go against the narrative. You're right, Evie, but you don't have to go fight to get people to vote. Just go vote, but people don't do it. That's why I'm blaming them. Which political party is the lesser of the evils? Well, I mean, that's a matter of perspective, you know. The problem is the system in South Africa. It's a party-based system, not a constituent-based situation. Louis Basson, 30 years experience in IT, and have been now 8 months without work and can't even get interviews. Van voted for the DA. Well, do you have buyer's remorse? I did a video on that, by the way, too. 16 votes away from 1,000. I did a video on that. That video was South Africa. Where's that? Where did I do that video at? Poor Afrikaans, South Africa's. Oh, you're satisfied with your vote for the day. I only had 8,000 views, but 500 comments. So this is the one I did last night. I like this one. Tell me what you guys think of this. Let me check this out. I did this video last night on my mobile phone. I like how I'm just kind of chilled, sitting back there, relaxing on the chair. And I got my rugby ball with Nas Botha and Joel Stransky, my little Botswana basket there, the map, the clock. I just kind of like this video. If you guys don't like it, you don't have to like it. But just let me get your thoughts on this one. Do you like this video? Hey, folks, welcome back. This is Chris in central Pennsylvania. You know, there's been an awful big blitz about Donald Trump and how he's pressuring South Africa and trying to interfere with internal affairs. And the reality, as I've said over and over again, is that President Trump simply suspended or ended financial assistance, foreign aid to South Africa, based on a long list of grievances that the African National Congress has done against the interests of the United States, including working with Iran's nuclear program, according to the U.S. government. But the rest of these things we've all seen in plain sight. The executive order that has got them in such a tizzy also said that the government... So, I mean, that's an example of me not being triggered. You know, I'm just, you know, I'm not in a bad mood. I'm just sitting there explaining. So, hey, Amy, Justine LaRue, how's it going? Okay. Afrikaner style video. Neville Purdon's hoping his next vote will be for J.D. Vance. Well, Neville Purdon, if you were to come to America today as a refugee in 2025 and magically became a citizen in 2030, J.D. Vance can run for office in 2028, so you wouldn't be able to vote for him unless he runs for re-election in 2032. So that's the first time you'll be able to vote for him. Excellent, short and to the point. Oh no, we're going to drive you crazy about it. Ronaldo, at this point, I get worried if Chris isn't live. Hey, Ronaldo, that's right. That's right. Okay. So here we go. Yeah, look, Chris Wyatt is not live. We need proof of life. Could somebody track him down? Hey, Ronaldo, what's going on, man? How you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, former member of Parliament Ronaldo Jose is with us in the chat. Say hello. Give a little love to Ronaldo there. Go ahead. You know you want to do it. Just do it. Do it. Say hello to him. Looks like you're chilling, perhaps a little spliff and whiskey. It does. I know. I sat here. Actually, my legs were up on the table. I had my legs kicked up on my table here, and I was sitting back, chilling, maxing, relaxing. It just, you know, because people are like freaking out, like Chris is so angry, man. You haven't seen my rants. I find that funny when people come here and go, "You're so, man, what's going on here? You're triggered." Triggered, dude. You have no idea. You want to see triggered? You should have seen me going off during the lockdown. So angry and so on point about the illegal violation of the Constitution, what was going on. And it was, anyway, looks like you're just chilling. Yep. Okay. Love the video. Thank you, Herman. And we are at 1,000 votes. Ah, cool. I got it at 1,000. There you go, folks. 1,000 votes. There's the poll. There's the results. Okay. Cool beans. Cool beans. I'm going to save that screenshot. Let me do this real quick in case somebody wants it. 1,000 votes, okay? Ronaldo, what's going on, man? What are you up to? Have you got a stream? It's Monday, so you're going to have a stream today. I've got Vena Dutoy on my program later today. So, okay. Okay, let me save that. Okay. Where's it at? There we go. All right, guys. That's going to be fuzzy because I'm blowing up. But this is what the poll result was. 1,000 votes. Would you take Trump's offer for refugee admission to the USA? 84% said yes. It went down. It was 85. 15% said no. Again, this is not a representative sample of South Africans. It is not a representative sample. And I'm cognizant of that. I'll tell you that. But people in South Africa will take polls and they'll lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. So, can't go with that as God's honest truth there. Right. We're almost at 5,000 views on this one. Honestly, there should be Stupid People Island. Yeah. Well, Amanda, Bill Engvall has this little comedy skit he did start like 20 years ago. He says, stupid people should wear signs. That way you wouldn't ask them questions. So like he says, he pulled in a filling station one day and he had a flat tire. And mechanic came out and said, got a flat tire? And he goes, no, funniest thing. I was driving around and those other 3 tires just swelled right up on me. Here's your sign. Good stuff. Joe Berg, child welfare, GBV response has been curtailed by President Trump cutting off aid. It says it had to let staff go, leaving thousands of victims without any support. I don't know the status of that one because I don't know if that's considered life-saving aid. But the money in South Africa hasn't been turned off. New expenditures. So that is lies. No new expenditures can be committed. No new obligations. No new commitments, no obligations. Existing contracts, if they're already getting paid for something, then they're still getting paid for it. Now, they might be having trouble getting the money through Phoenix, the payment system. That may be true. Oh, my goodness. Where did that come from? Wow, Stephanie. $100 US. Thank you for all that you do. You're very welcome, folks. Can we get some love for that super chat? Give some thanks there real quick to Stephanie. I got 5 already. Put the thumbs up on that. Give her thanks. Thanks for the $100. That is sweet. My goodness. I love it. That's really awesome. Thank you so much for that. YouTube would get their 30%. I'll get $70 of that. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that. I really, really, really appreciate that. Herman loved the vid. Okay. Yeah, so you're right, Jan Fundriel. Do you think South Africans will be able to pay back the U.S. government? We're not freeloaders. Well, yeah, you'll pay back the U.S. government by working hard and improving the country and contributing. Oh, Dean and AI. Okay, that's the one. Okay, Ronaldo, where's that at? Okay. I hadn't seen this one. Leaked video reveals Dean McPherson's arrogance and blatant respect for fellow Afrikaners. These clips he refers to ancient Americans as monkeys. Oh, is this deep fake? Or is it real?
They do not belong in our space. Yeah, I know. But what do you expect from them? Just a bunch of monkeys who will never be like us, lazy, incompetent.
Is this real or is it deep fake? Wow. It has 62,000 views. Huh. Is that a deep fake? 85%. I will assume that we can expect the millions that will be leaving. I don't think millions will be leaving South Africa, guys. Come on, let's be real. You can't. This is not indicative of all of South Africa. I mean, the Nick Serfontaines, the rich, wealthy farmers, aren't going anywhere. And this is a guy that was on Ramaphosa's land land report, and obviously he's got a vested interest as part and parcel of the Rama machine. He's not going anywhere. Would love a laugh at your lockdown videos. Oh yeah, some of them pretty good. Please like and subscribe. Let's make Chris even bigger. Yeah, let's do that. Make me bigger. I'll never catch Ronaldo. Not that I'm trying. Okay, I do want that 100,000 sign though, so I can go out like Kid Rock and put it on a tree stump in the woods right over here, my 12 gauge, and blow the shit out of it. SV analyst got robbed 3 times, lost hundreds, dreads of thousands. Personal, that's a shame. Okay. Stephanie Len, thank you for that $100 super chat. That's awesome. Like her real money. It is real money, man. There's no currency loss on that. It is AI. That's what I thought, Ronaldo. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, it does sound like AI. Will Trump allow millions of refugees to come over because it looks like them out? Well, we've had this conversation too. Look, okay. We are in the process of removing 30 criminal alien invaders from this country, starting with 660,000 convicted murderers, rapists, pedophiles, home assaults, violent robbers. 660,000 of those criminals. Once they're gone, then they'll go after the others who are here illegally, who violate our sovereignty. And we're talking 20, 30 million people. We won't get all of them out of here, but if you think the America can't take all 2.8 million white Afrikaners, the 2 million white South Africans beyond that, the 6 to 8 million colors in South Africa, the 1.3 million Indians, then you just really don't get it. There's plenty of room in this country for those people, but they aren't coming. Tens of thousands might come, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Definitely deep fake, okay? If I leave, it's almost 100 people that lose their work. The overall implications is big. Oh yeah, no, Van, you're right. Especially see that. That's where the arrogance of the ANC and of these members of parliament like Rise Mzansi and the EFF and all these other clowns, they are just stupid beyond belief. Because if you think that it's only going to be poor white Afrikaners living in refugee camps, smart people who don't see a future or are concerned about the future are going to leave too. Look, nobody should leave. I hope you all stay in South Africa, but it's not my place to tell you what to do. Yeah, a lot of people see what they want to see. Tekliano Ishtar sounds fake. Yeah, the voice sounds fake. It's a bad deep fake, yeah, but it will convince people. U.S. retail battered by, yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's been snowing like a mother here. I look at my credit card bills today. On one of my credit cards, I'm like, yeah, zero expenditures. I haven't spent anything. Although I did buy some stuff from Amazon last night, which will be delivered today. But yeah. I'm going to boil the coffee. Culinary Pirates, how many different arms do you possess, Colonel? Coming from military back, you probably have a few fun toys in your collection. I will not tell you what I have or don't have. I will tell you that when I was in high school, I had 30 rifles and shotguns, 12 gauge, 16 gauge, 20 gauge, a 410, a 22 long rifle, Montgomery Ward rifle, a couple handguns, and so on. Never been a bow person, but I'll tell you that. But I won't share what I do or do not have today. Watched Ronaldo last night after Chris. You should listen to the rest. It was hilarious. What did Ronaldo do last night? What did you say, Ronaldo? What's hilarious? Once the Afrikaners come, it won't be barbecue. No, it'll still be barbecue. Many African Americans moving to South Africa because it's motherland. 5 robberies in my home. Oh my goodness. Snowball effect. If my suppliers leave, I'm one of the biggest clients. Okay. This whole lot is a shit show. Had a break-in at a place on Saturday. The video's on Dean. Oh, okay, cool. I'll have to watch it, Ronaldo. I've been busy, so I actually got sleep earlier because people are wondering, when do you get sleep? After I worked this afternoon, I took a few hours and got some sleep. And then did some house cleaning. When I say house cleaning, that means admin stuff. Chronic, my shops have been broken into twice. Even class, I'm not concerned for my future, but I know my daughter won't even have the chance to be successful. Live in a box in the U.S. and give her the best shot. Okay. If you become a refugee, will you be allowed to own guns? You, as a resident of the United States, can own guns depending on the state. You have to comply with local laws. Okay, to be clear, you must. But why are people asking about guns? Why do you care about guns? Is that your primary concern about coming to America, having guns? Why? Because you listen to the media and you hear about school shootings and mass shootings. South Africa has more mass shootings than the United States. Fact. More mass shootings. South Africa has more murders than the United States, 21,000 plus murders per year, and we have 14,000. Yep. Don't take Uber Cash in the USA. What is Uber Cash? Don't Uber, take cash. Okay. We are hunters. Well, you really think that you're going to have time to hunt when you're coming here, finding an apartment, registering, getting driver's license, learning the law of the land? You have time to just go hunting? You think it's a vacation? It's not a vacation. You'll be able to go hunting. Relax. Guns are everywhere, man. We have 450 million firearms in this country. Relax. It'll happen. Well, my driver's license can be acceptable in the U.S. As long as it's valid, but not once you become a resident. You have to get a state local license. So to make the point, I had an Ohio driver's license from 1987 until 2019, and this is my Pennsylvania license. Let me cover that up, all the data. So there you go, Pennsylvania, see my photograph there. That's my driver's license. So I had a Ohio driver's license for all those years. I lived in Arizona, I lived in Iowa, I lived in Maryland, and I lived in Pennsylvania during that time. And I didn't have to have a driver's license because of the Soldier and Sailors Relief Act, because I was in the military serving in duty in another state. But if you move to a state, you must get a driver's license in that state within a period of time. I've covered this earlier in this program. You have 30, 60, or 90 days, depending on the state. Every state has different laws. So if you have a Canadian driver's license, you're going to have to get a local license. Now, if you surrender your license from Canada when you test, then you'll only have to test a written test in most states. In the United States, if you have a driver's license from the state and you don't surrender it, you can get in trouble. You have to surrender your license. You could have a license in multiple states, but because people got drunk while driving in Ohio and then they had a license in Pennsylvania, they would drive their Pennsylvania license, but that's all linked by computers now. That was back when I was a kid. You can't do that anymore. So you must surrender your driver's license when you get a new one. The Canadian one you could probably retain because it's not U.S., but you can drive in America on a Canadian license as a tourist. You can come here. You can visit America. You can drive on a Canadian license. That's perfectly legitimate and valid.
However, you cannot reside in America with a Canadian license. You must get an American. If you get pulled over and you've been a resident here for more than a requisite period of time, you'll be cited and fined, and you can have your driver license privileges revoked. So, want guns because it's almost impossible to get them here, and most guns had to be handed in. Now, there are plenty of guns that people have in their hands. They're hot full bikers. Neil DeBeer is getting death threats now. Yeah, I've heard that. Okay. Yep, 14 mass shootings in February, says Pablo. Hasn't proven to me, told me where a single one of them is at. People want to know what firearms they have. Yeah, exactly. Also wants answers on the cost of protocol and etiquette. What's this? That just jumped on me. Check the WhatsApp. Okay. These are the false numbers. People in each bracket field set to false. What's this? According to Social Security database, these are the numbers of people in each age bucket with the death field set to false. Maybe Twilight is real and there are a lot of vampires. Okay, yeah, I see what they're saying. Yeah. Well, it's nonsense. Yeah, that's because that's some sort of data projection, and that's what they're running off of instead of the actual facts. Anyway, thank you for that, Ronaldo. Yeah, Ronaldo gave me a message. It shows that all these people who are over 100, 110, 120, 130 years old, and they're listed on the database. What I don't know is if they're receiving benefits. Where the hell did that message go? I was trying to read something somebody had. It just jumped on me. Malema says now he likes white people. You're right. Oh, that was a driver's license. Okay, the situation against whites. Okay. Oh, and it's doing it again. God bless it. Okay, we're still live. I'm just double checking that. Yep, a couple thousand Afrikaners to be a drop in the bucket. Yep. Some states accept Canadian license. Yeah, but not for residents. They all accept Canadian license, not some, Arctic. You can't live in a state without getting a local license. So I had to get my license within 60 days. I got it within 30 days. I took my Ohio license. I went to the testing center. That's what I was telling the story. So I went to the testing center. I didn't have to take a driving test because I had a driver's license. So obviously I passed the driving test. I just had to take the local laws test. I took the test. And actually, I didn't have to take that because I had a driver's license. So I'm sorry, I'm misspeaking there. I was thinking of another license. Yeah, I didn't have to take anything. My license converted like that into a Pennsylvania license. Just had to pay the fee and sign up for voter registration right there and get my photograph. So that's all I had to do. So that'd probably be the same. If you have a Canadian license, you want to surrender that license, they'll probably just, you won't even have to take the test. Okay, sorry, I got off track there. I'll talk about a lot of our mass shootings. Yeah, it's informal setups. We had 18 people murdered in KZN recently. Yeah. Pablo Charlie's just here trolling. Okay. Dumela and Tati Chris, Neil DeBeer is getting death threats. Thank you, Tabo. I'm aware of that. And those people should be prosecuted. I don't know why they're having death threats against Neil DeBeer. The man has cancer. I mean, how stupid are people? You can get as many guns as you want. Yeah, there's no limit. You can have 1,000 guns. When I was in high school, my stepfather was a gun dealer on our farm in Ohio. We had a basement, a huge basement in a farmhouse. We had gun racks stacked 2 and 3 high in the basement, full of rifles and shotguns and safes full of handguns. And our home was burglared, and the place was torched, but all the guns were lost. But we had probably in that place a few hundred guns, yep, in our house in the basement. Pay rent every month, have to scrape money together for electricity. Sovereignty is a social contract, okay? Yeah, there's a Telegram group. We put it up earlier. You must have come in late. Here it is. But it's not a place you can chat. It's not for chatting, folks. Not for chatting. Where are we at here? It's just to get information. Only I and the mods can post there, and the moderators in that group. Because it's just for verified information for my analysis. Okay. What are your thoughts about ArcelorMittal steelmaking operation in Newcastle and Ferenging? Well, they're shutting down one of their operations because they're losing money. They're losing money because of cheap Chinese imports and because of the decline in demand for steel in South Africa because of the collapsing economy. I mean, you need to look no further than ArcelorMittal to see what's going on. They were producing and meeting most of the needs that people needed for steel, that type of steel in South Africa, but there's little demand for it now. It's declined. And so that's why it's declined, because people aren't building as much anymore. They aren't building because the country's collapsing. And that's the truth of the matter. All right, guns are part of the Afrikaner culture, but we have to realize as Afrikaner safety and the future, our loved ones, is now more important than anything. You can get guns, relax. Is it true that most people in rural southern states are tooled up with paramilitary weapons? I mean, what kind of question is that, Pablo Charlie? What is a paramilitary weapon? A driver of 22 years, do I start from scratch to drive because everything is different there? I don't know what you mean. What kind of driver? Are you a long-haul driver in a semi-truck? You'll be able to find work here in a heartbeat. We have tens of thousands of Sikhs who've immigrated to America and come here and drive trucks. Yep. My co-host on the Common Sense Conservatives every Wednesday night is a truck driver. Yep, in the trucking industry. All right, guys, it's been 3 hours and 43 minutes, a lot longer than I intended on doing this because the questions have been coming. So I'm going to wrap it up, and 457 people here now. I'm going to leave you with this video again. This is me. You can see me through the years. This is places I've been around the world. It's not complete, obviously. Just enjoy this. Be sure to hit the like button. Thank you for the super chats that came in, especially that big one. Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. Really awesome. And stay tuned. Much more. Remember, today, the 17th, is President's Day. The U.S. Embassy is closed, so don't expect anything coming out of them today. Cheers, everybody. Be safe and go well.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
This morning I'm sharing the stage with guinea fowl, and quite a few of them, as you can see. They're sharing the stage with guinea fowl and barking dogs in a residential area here in Somerset West.